Hey Shaves, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest. We're going over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this summer of 2024. So on this day, August 31st, when I'm recording in 2024, is 5 years since August 31st, 2019, which is when I recorded the first AniTube Digest. There's just so much to catch up on and so much I want to do with this last digest that it's going to... I wanted to record this first part now on the on this day, but it's getting later and I haven't watched any of the 50-minute to 5, 6, 7, 10-hour videos. Also, new phone camera. I finally don't have to the very end, right? Use the mic, and that's why I waited this whole week. It's to get this phone or whatever, and also just on the day and everything. But first we're gonna go with some reaction videos. I'm not cutting to my fucking shitty webcam right now. It's not compared to, I don't know, I'm always, but it's using for sync or whatever. But I'm gonna put the video right here. All right, this first one's from Neo Postboy. Postboy and animator, animator extraordinaire. Did a One Piece AMV, parental discretion advised. And I will say that I have fucking 5 One Piece AMVs I want to make, and great, and down the line, too much I want to do right now, just too much I'm working on and whatever, and this is one of it. A little bit at a time, complete things. Anyway, let's just check this out. All right. Yeah. It is this easy, huh? I'm so in my head about some of these edits I've seen. I'm just like, oh my god. But it could be just this easy. This is fun. It's not synced too much, which is not. It's fine. I would be way too about it. It's just showing just that there's so much to add with One Piece and everything you could show possibly. Oh, and just stops at the end there. All right, interesting. Yeah, that was nice. I think with it is there is just so much material with One Piece, and you want to hit all of the major beats, I guess. When a lot of this, what's so great about it is that glue in between is all the interspersal moments, which I think you fill this with, really. Obviously there's some iconic moments of the major defeat of Crocodile, or that last shot of Mr. One with Zoro and everything. That's peak stuff. But it was just interesting that the stuff that you chose and the order in which it happened, and it wasn't too synced or anything. That it's just chill, and that's just, I have to get out of my head about this stuff. It's encouraging to see that sort of thing, because for me, it's I always, that's the thing with me, I always get a little about seeing even just edits. I don't know. I've just been I was a weird headspace today watching these videos, and it was part of me, it was just I can understand why I'm not really going to be doing this too much anymore, just because but man, I still really want to make sure I'm engaging with what people are making, because I think I'm going to say this right now. I feel like I was going to say this elsewhere or whatever, but before I forget, I might just not think of it. But while it's on my head, I think the reason for me is just that so many people are in the mines making their video, making cool shit, and then it's released, and however well it does or whatever, all of us are really just focused on making the next video, and engaging with each other's videos takes time and effort. This is it. It's taking me all day just to, with all whatever. Obviously I'm making a production about it, but even just that outreach and that community thing that we're missing or whatever, it's because it's just a difference in priorities. We're prioritizing our videos and making them super lavish or well researched or polished and everything, or just how many of them. Just some of us are focused on quantity. It just feels like there isn't enough time. You know what I mean? I don't know. This is there's getting vibes. But anyway, just as something that was on my mind. But yeah, I like the vid. Another AMV from, and this is Weird Proc's first one, Love Hime. it's a Yowamushi Pedal AMV. I have not seen Yowamushi Pedal at all. I actually did chapters for it when we released it with Discotheque, but I have very little connection to it otherwise. But let's check it out. Good sick, yeah. Oh, okay. This is like a show within Yowamushi Pedal. I didn't know this side of the show myself. I knew it was like a sports anime and everything, but I like this. I like this approach. This is something I never really heard or seen anything about. And I would say editing AMVs to songs like this is so infectious. Oh, you're speeding that up. Oh yeah, this is such an unconventional choice. This magical girl area part here, it just makes me wonder my approach with the video I'm going to be making after the one I'm currently making. Sorry, I'll shut up. Just makes me think of that. I'm curious about how that show approaches what a magical girl, like their depiction of a magical girl. Oh, so like they're kind of. I wonder if this is like a canon thing of like this is what they were motivated by or what, which is funny. Oh, nice. With the slight tilt of the hair. Nice. Good sync. Ah, it's a good ending. I like the writer's block. Couldn't figure out what clips to use and so. Yeah. No, that happens where you have to fill out the thing. And I will say, like, with some I don't think I've done this for AMVs necessarily, but for like my trailers, I almost always have had to like abbreviate the song to have it flow and fit in a way that keeps the momentum going, because otherwise it's like, oh, I have to fill this stuff here or whatever, and it feels like it pads it or drags it almost. It is a 4-minute AMV, and I'm not saying it was overly long or something, but I can understand where like, oh, it's another chorus, I have to keep filling it with stuff or whatever. I don't know. I get that vibe at least. But yeah, I think conceptually it was really cool. And it's like, you didn't do anything super fancy with like cutting or with making it super rapid or anything. It was just a lot of like small, clever choices, like really subtle things. And sometimes that's all you need. That's all you need, really. It was very, very enjoyable. I had no idea that, again, like Yowamushi Pedal had that angle to it. That's very interesting. Makes me wonder, makes me think. But yeah, good job. I was curious about this Tanbon the Mon? AMV, because it's using Break On Through the Other Side with the Doors, which I've made an AMV to. It was really kind of a trailer for a Kick I Sense thing I made years ago. I have to post it. Like, I only ever posted it on like Amino, the Amino Apps thing back in the day, but over 5 years ago now. But yeah, no, I just was curious because I like bebop, and the song choice, I'm familiar with editing to it, so I'd be interested in how they tackle it. Let's check it out. Oh, nice diegetic. Good idea. This is it. Oh, I would have had them start shooting at that part. And now here I am backseat editing. Great. Sorry. I'll let it cook. That was a good sync. It's because the rest of it is really well synced. It's like stuff that I would do. There it is. I should have waited. Oh, interesting. The way that cuts back to the same shot. Yeah, some of the diegetic sound effects. I'm happy to see it's more than just the first episode. I was wondering if that was going to be the case, but it's more of like all of them. Yeah. Like bebop, I think it's, I don't know. This is great momentum. Yeah. Oh, that was split frame. I'm sorry I'm nitpicking. Why am I don't know. This one's got me. Because it's good, like, it's good. Not that the others weren't good. I don't know, I'm his standards. This is one of my favorite anime and a fantastic song to do it to. Nice. That was excellent. Ooh. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. That was a cool idea for the ending. That was a really cool idea for the ending. I would have gone way. Now that here's the other thing too. Like, one of the One Piece AMVs that I want to make is taking another guy's concept and song, like, and I'm like, I can do this better. Like give me the keys, you know. Like, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy to do. I'll give the guy credit when I do it. If I do it, hopefully I do it. I'm just like so into the idea. But like, God, it is one of those things where you have it and you're like, oh my gosh, and some of the great ideas. I don't know, but my mind kind of jumps ahead, and sometimes that's the tug and pull with these. But then when like it's too good, I am such a fucking finicky fucking not finicky, fickle, I think is the word. I'm just so like, I don't know. God, I haven't done this in a while, I guess. When the video is too well edited, I get really uncomfortable and almost jealous, really. And I've said this, but I have expressed jealousy when watching videos that I'm like, this is incredible, fucking whatever. And then like when it's just like, there's no happy medium is what I'm trying to say. You know, I can't like be at peace when something's like, yeah, I could, you know, I don't have, it's the self-consciousness. Like I'm not as confident in myself as I should be. I've had self-esteem issues for a while, which is sad. No, is what it is. But yeah, that was great, and I think it was just it gets me in the right dead zone of like good and like, oh, I wish I thought of that type of deal. But I'm like, oh, what if you just did this or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, but I guess those are the most engaging videos to me, because I'm actually, I feel like I was being, I don't know, whatever. Hope that was flattering and not like weird or annoying. I probably was. Anyway, let's check on the next one. This is going great. Glowworm Apocalypse. Congratulations getting it in by digest time. I got feelings about Ranma right now. I got feelings. So this is when I saw this. The emoticon I used in the Discord when you sent this was kind of my like, because I'm just like, oh man. But anyway, let's check this out. Fan animation, I believe. Aw. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was good. Oh, nice. I always, I'm just letting it go, man. Yeah. I couldn't fucking say it. I was just, oh man. So like, what's interesting about this, what I immediately thought was that how I actually just watched the Ranma OVAs, like not even 2 days ago. And it was interesting how it was around that time where very clearly I had heard about this, you know, a couple of videos mentioned it, how several of the voice actresses mainly, kind of formed an idol group of sorts. And they were kind of promoting themselves through the Ranma anime. First with the Christmas special, like this was the first time chronologically that I had seen them like kind of performing in this song environment or whatever. But then like every OP afterwards, and like in the OVA series, in the couple of them, was like a different OP every time, and they were singing. And there's like one OP where they redo one of the older OPs. It's like the third one, I think. And the characters are singing it like to the camera, like the 2D character, like it's just like this. So that was my first immediate thought. I'm like, that's very much in line. This like makes sense. And obviously this is taking from one of the EDs. I forget which ED it is. And I always thought it was like so kind of corny, but like it's cool. I don't know, like especially with that context of like where that would go. Where I don't know, it just very few. I shouldn't say very few. Like a couple of anime have done this, but that early, I guess, I think was interesting about it. Yeah, I just thought you capture the designs really well, the body language and stuff. Man, all that was so delightful. With the postcard memories too, it's a good idea. Yeah. Also, the other thing I was going to mention is this part where you show the you actually kind of show both transformations like in camera, because something I always notice about the original anime is that they never really wanted to, and this is kind of the case with the manga, obviously, because there's no animation. The actual transformation of the character into the whether it's, you know, Genma into a panda or whatever, they always cut away or like have some kind of it makes it like really like a instantaneous transformation. It's not like Animorphs or something. Like you don't see Ryoga like turn into a pig. He kind of just like dunks in water and then he comes up and he's a pig. So it's like this animation right here where you see him actually kind of grow like that. I think there's a couple EDs that did that, but like for the most part, that's rare. That's it. And so it was just, that was what stood out to me. It was just interesting. They had great, really cool animation. I was really happy to see that. Hell yeah. And I did want to do this, this is my own volition. Obviously, this is my volition. Frogs in a Pond, I guess, had done like a ton of music videos for their EP. And then they just, like today, I think, released the entire visual album. So I really gotta watch that. But I wanted to react to at least this one. It has like animation. I think the others probably, some of them have animation too. But I believe this was... Is this animated by Core? I guess it'll be maybe in the credits or something. This is the credits. No, I mean like in these credits. I don't know, maybe. Let's find out. Already it's Core animated, so it's cool. Oh, wow. The perspective is so weird. I really like I don't know, there's something about the fidelity of this one that's really cool. Animation music videos are always kind of the best. Not AMVs, like, obviously. I just mean, like, music videos that are animation. You just have so much more control, and you have the cuts and the particular synchronization, like, syncopation, and so much more you can, you know, really unite the two things together. I love the one frame thing. That's such a cool shot. I don't know what it is about that. Yeah, like the drop shadows you're doing on some of the objects here are just really interesting. Like, yeah, like just the textures and... Oh, it's so weird. The layer, like... Oh, that's so weird. Again, the drop shadows on some of this stuff, just like really cool looking. Obviously, the composition is really fun. Oh god, that's Kino. Yeah, this could go. That's just like a loop or whatever. Like, that's cool, man. That's just the right vibe. I'm definitely looking at the whole visual album. I've obviously loved the album when I listened to it, but man, so sick. I love this track too. It's such a nice ballad. I don't know if ballad's the word for it. It's probably not. I don't know. There's something like there's an energy to it, but there's also like this like melancholic feeling to it that made me think I just got ballad vibes from it, even though it's, yeah, I don't know. It's a lot rockier than I don't know, than I was expecting. I've listened to it, but it was a while ago. But I remember that it was just, there was like a lot more kind of like, yeah, we're fine. I don't fucking know. I'm sorry. God. Oh yeah, Joni Peppers. Okay. Wow. No, I thought this was so cool. Goodness. Perspective and then type of thing, man. That was so sick. So sick. Really cool. Loved it. A good time. I got like no notes. I got like wow, that was great. Yeah. I think I said everything I said about that one. That's so good. You guys should check out the whole album. It's awesome. Okay, so Dogen wanted me to not Dogen. Victor wanted me to react to a Dogen clip. Not that it's like a 3-hour thing reacting to pitch accent as a scam, but he wanted me to check out the 5-minute chunk over here. So let's do that. I have no context for anything. Let's find out.
This is kind of related to a lot of things in Japan in general. Like if you log on to like the anime YouTuber scene, it's super polarizing and divided and toxic, whatever that means.
Sure.
And the reason for this, in the same way that there's a lot of really heated opinions about pitch accent, I've got a strong opinion about pitch accent. Hopefully it's not toxic, but right. I think that so many people get kind of heated about this thing is because there are so many weebs like myself that Japan means so much to them.
Yeah.
There are so many people who started studying Japanese because their personality didn't really match up with the culture that they were raised with.
Yeah.
And they thought, based on what they saw in Japanese movies or anime or whatever, I'll fit in better in Japan.
Oh.
And that's true for some people.
Yeah.
Some people might have a rude awakening again after they go to Japan.
No, for sure.
But they kind of see Japan as
Utopia.
Their way out, their way of kind of being reborn. And I was definitely one of these people.
Wow.
And if you're like this, then again, Japan becomes very important to you, and all things Japan related kind of become like part of your character. It's like, this is my favorite anime, and if you talk bad about it, like, we can't be friends anymore.
Right.
Like, this is like the trashiest like take on this particular thing. Like, I'm unsubbing from like this anime YouTuber because of like what they said about this, or like, look at this drama XYZ. The reason that we all get so heated up,
I'm blocking people on Twitter.
Japan is our golden ticket to a better life. Hypothetically,
none of those people are.
We think that if we go to Japan, all of our problems will be solved, and becoming kind of hyper aware. And this, again, kind of manifests itself in so many things, whether it's your like for anime. Like, I've got good taste in anime. Right. That's me.
I do.
That's my virtue.
Wow.
I'm proud of having this taste in anime.
This is great.
That's my good quality.
Right.
And therefore, I'm going to get like heated about people who disagree with me.
Yeah.
Or again, like, there's a lot of people, I've hopefully matured a little bit since.
And he's not being that judgmental. He is just calling attention to it. And I'm sorry I paused, but like, God, this is so good. And just the fact that, I don't know, he's not dropped the hammer yet. You know what I mean? Where it feels like, like, I'm just so happy that he's actually calling attention to this.
When I was growing up, when I was like in middle school and high school and university, certainly as well, I had way, way, way too much pride in my Japanese. I'm going to be the foreigner that speaks better Japanese than like all the other foreigners. And I was really, really passionate about that because Japan meant so much to me.
Right.
And I was like, that's going to be my thing. That's how I'm going to be someone special in Japan on top of going to Japan. It's like, I'm going to go to Japan. And then on top of that, I'm going to be someone special in Japan. I'm going to be, that's what I'm going to be known for. A lot of us want to come to Japan and not be like those other foreigners. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's actually kind of why, like, everyone asks me, like, when are you going to Japan? And for me, I'm actually kind of worried about it. Like, I have this insecurity or uncertainty about it where, like, I really don't want to come off as like that. You know what I mean? As like, oh, I know better, or like I can, whatever. I'm like so humbled by it, or just I don't know, feel like a fraud or whatever. Even though like I talk like very kind of colloquial Japanese, I guess, like just in moments where I just kind of use Japanese phrases just kind of casually with people that would get it or even don't. I just kind of say it. You know what I mean? And then people like, I don't know. Yeah, I have my own kind of like insecurity about that for sure.
It's so real.
About coming off like that, yeah.
We all want to be special. Japan is kind of a way for many of us to feel special by putting our foot in the door. But at the same time, many of us can feel special by becoming very good at a particular thing. And that's not a negative thing. It's just you shouldn't let becoming skilled at something be something that affects the way that you
see yourself,
interact with other people, hopefully.
Yeah. 100%.
The true weeb experience, the not like other girls memes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone wants to be the main character. So like, yeah, there's a lot of people that have a lot of pride in their Japanese. And Matt versus Japan is one of them. Is he oversensitive about his Japanese? I'll let you guys decide that. I know Matt personally. I consider Matt a friend. I'm not going to speak bad about him.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. Is he oversensitive about that? I don't know. Again, you know, make up.
Yeah. It's something to think about. That's why I really liked it about this clip. It looks like it's almost over type of deal where like he's not judging anyone for doing this sort of thing, but it's the awareness of it of like suddenly like look at what you're doing and then how do you feel about that?
About some things, yeah, definitely.
It gives you food for thought, basically.
Let your insecurities or again. Let's all kind of, maybe can we have a balanced discussion about these things, about taste in anime and, you know, the role of pitch accent in Japanese without getting overly emotional?
Without getting toxic.
Okay.
Without getting toxic. You know, yeah, definitely. I think it's, part of it could also be, at least in terms of the anime stuff, that this stuff moved us so emotionally that for someone to fly in the face of that or give a different take on it for whatever reason makes it feel like those feelings were wrong or invalidated. And I think some people straight up say that sometimes. I think some people are that mean about their takes or whatever. Like, I am correct. I don't know. Not like that, I guess. But, well, yes, like that. But in terms of like they don't outright say like, yeah, your feelings, whatever. Yeah, no, I think that was a great points, just general, whatever. And yeah, very happy you recommended that. I think that was fantastic. I like that he also, not just relating it to Japan or attaching yourself to that sort of thing, but also to like a skill. Where it's like, this is who I am. I am a good this or that, or this is my thing. Because then when another person comes in that's better than you, or, you know, challenges your preconception or something, your worldview and personality can get, you know, challenged and shattered and stuff like that. I don't know, or fractured. It can be, so it's best not to think of those sorts of things, I guess. Yeah, for sure. Doesn't stop me from feeling insecure. It's a really great clip. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And now, like, maybe 40 minutes into the digest of the first recording, we're finally at the preliminary of, there's a couple of videos that are not from this summer that I wanted to first give some coverage to for this and that reason. I had this video on my watch later since it came out. And I never really it just didn't happen to correlate, whatever. And I was like, oh, because I missed it at one week or whatever. Like, I didn't happen to know the guy or whatever. David Mann. And he's still active, he's still around, doesn't make many videos really, but that's fine. But his HeyBot video, the Sunday morning experience, I was always really interested because, you know, I was part of the Definitive Anime chat server that, you know, talks about HeyBot a lot. Not as much now, but similar, like, you know, they mention it. So I was curious about it. So I finally got around to watching it. And, you know, I will say, I'm going to critique it immediately. Like, the one thing I can think of is just that, like, I've gotten really into the time slot thing in terms of like this is actually an important factor that not a lot of fans, or at least Western people, really consider that much. And then it just he didn't go into it as much that I was expecting. And I felt like a lot of the bulk of the video felt kind of repetitive in terms of like how like it's random and like, oh, it's crazy and everything. And the middle part felt kind of cyclical. And it wasn't until he was like, you know, starting to the turn about Haybot of like, oh, there's more to this show. And this is what it's actually kind of doing. And then the meta commentary in the last episode about the time slot was really interesting. And that sort of reveal of it being the last show in this time slot was good. I guess it's just like, I would have liked to know more about that time slot. What else was in there? Because he does flash by it and starts the video of like, what does Gundam and the Brave series have in common type of deal. I think it was the two that you mentioned. But, you know, it's that sort of thing. It's present. I guess I was just like excited for more, almost, or like that sort of analysis from that angle, I guess. But it ended up just being more of just like Haybot as a show in terms of kind of like a series overview almost of like what its deal is, you know, but not in like the super delved cryptic, not cryptic, but like numerical kind of like brass tacks kind of way. It was just a very, you know, straightforward series overview with that framing of the Sunday morning experience. But I will say I really wish that they would make more videos because I really like his presence on camera where he gets to himself. Obviously, it's mostly narration over anime clips, but the few times where he chooses to be on camera, I think were really interesting. Just because the particular choices of that, I think were cool. Yeah, and I think he's got good humor and good focus and everything. And yeah, I think the handling of the series was good. Yeah, I was happy to finally get around to that. I feel bad that, you know, this was kind of the last video after a while. For a while, they did put out one more video on, was it the video game character that Hayden's covered before? Mr. blah, 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 blah. Mr. Gimmick, right. And about the music, that was interesting. But yeah, I can see that you're still, you know, fairly active, so hopefully you appreciate it. And, you know, I'm sorry it took around until now to get to it, but yeah, it was good. Really enjoyed it. It's been 11 months since Kexi uploaded, and I missed this upload when, because I just got my ad at the time, whatever. But it's surprising that Kexi just suddenly has kind of a hiatus and stuff like that. Or I guess he's working on a big video type of thing. It's like, oh boy, oh geez. And it really is this like, this was a really tour de force of the kind of editing he's gotten himself polished and sharp at, and to where like, man, it was one of those videos I watched this week today that really got me like daunted about making my own video, I guess, where I'm like, should I be moving stuff more? Should I be like highlighting in this way? And man, it was just like this like clever things here and there, and the coverage of the Nico Nico stuff, and I don't know, handling a lot of the internet related material and depicting this largely online controversy and event that Kexi's kind of documenting here. Which is obviously like right in his wheelhouse, and I think he covers it like perfectly. Really like riveting, and I don't know, just like really sleuthy with the kind of like, this is the first post, and this is, you know, the image of the gas station advertisement or something being faked, that sort of thing. I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. Oh, I just have this one. I'm not gonna fucking drink it until after the segment. Fucking dumbass. No. Yeah, it was great. I'm sorry I didn't get to it for a while. And you made it look effortless in terms of like, I guess it was like you worked really hard in this video and everything. I guess in terms of, yeah, like there's points where like there's just sound effects happening in the little edits too, and everything has a lot of thought and care put into it. That I feel bad that I've about my own videos, I guess, where I'm just like, man, I could be doing that. I could do that, but it's just, I'm so overburdened, and my confidence is really shot with my main channel videos because of just the performance and stuff. It just makes me like psyched out. I gotta fucking comment on my Gurren Lagann video of like this big essay of how wrong I was or something. I'm like, whatever, you know, I don't know. Why is it about me again? No. But yeah, it really got me psyched out almost, where it was like, man, shit. But the hiatus is interesting. But if you're still working on it, great. Looking forward to when it comes out, of course. I don't know if I would cover it. It is what it is. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this because it is really like peak of like some like perfect square of your like sweet spot. That's what I was fucking what's the fucking term? Sweet spot of your content, I think, because it's about Squid Girl and about an internet thing, and I don't know, it just has a lot of good going into it, and yeah, it makes sense. You're when a viewer's like, you should probably make this video, you're like, yeah, you're right. That's good. That's great. Yeah, really enjoyed this video. It was very good. This YouTuber put out a video in this summer, and it looked really interesting, and I wanted to talk about it, but then I thought, hold on, I gotta tie up a loose end here. This is completely of my own volition. Hey, Study of Swords, I finally watched Kill la Kill. So I'm like, hold on, now I can watch your videos on it. Because I know I was holding off on it, and like, oh, I'll get to it, whatever. And maybe by this point, because these are so old, they're like, I kind of would have preferred if you talked about my latest one. So apologies. Especially when it's like critiquing another anime YouTuber. I think it's kind of cool. I think it was just a YouTuber. I think it was Moon. But yeah, I watched all 4 of it. I'll just put the first one in the playlist. But I did watch all 4 of them. I guess I still would have been stubborn where like I wanted to watch them before, like when I had seen this series anyway. But as I was watching, I'm like, there really aren't that many spoilers. There was the major spoilers at like the end of the last video, but the others I really could have watched because it was enough material that I knew about Kill la Kill from osmosis or whatever that like I wouldn't have been necessarily spoiled anything. Yeah, I don't feel like you gave away too much of the stuff in the last third, and a lot of it's focused on the first couple of episodes. A lot of the analysis you have here is in the first 3 or 5 or just 3 episodes, really. I like that each one is systematically kind of breaking down the most common complaints or takes about Kill la Kill, and it's not trying to be anything super thorough, definitive at all. And it's from this era where like you're releasing these over the course of like a couple weeks. They were kind of within a couple weeks of each other, or a month or two. And they're only like a max 16 minutes, and I think this one's the shortest one, or maybe the second one was, but all of them were like not that long. So it's like you could have put it all in one video at that time, but it's cool that I think this was nice. It's just they're separate topics, and videos of this length are just, I kind of miss them. I wish I could fucking make them. I wish I was, God, I just can't bring myself to do it apparently. Like I have to limit the only time I can do it is when I restrict myself. Like I can only say based on this song, and that's the spine of the video, and that's it. That's all you can say. So it forces myself to be curt. But like, I'll just talk about this for a couple, just a side thing. But then I spiral and just go talk about all this stuff, and I want to be thorough and Not that you're not thorough here. I think you're just focused. I think you're just not trying to be like, oh, I need to get that. Oh, I need to get this. Oh, I need to get that. Whatever. These just felt very efficient in that way. And yeah, all the analysis is completely sound. Although it's like, for me, like, I get the idea of kind of high using Mal reviews as like a high profile thing fairly, but at the end of the day, it is just some rando. Kind of laying into this one rando. I think it was this overthinking video where really lay into this particular comment of like, if you do any more thinking, you're dumb or something. I don't know what they said really, but it's like, why are we giving this guy credence or platform? Like, who's this in whatever? Which I think you've then carried on from that spirit to your current videos, where you're really going after particular published authors, or in your case for last video, more prolific YouTuber. I think you've kind of found that lane of like, well, no, like and it isn't as much like I was about to say I have an original thought. Like, that's so backhanded and rude. No, you obviously do. And you did with like the But the regrets, it's been a while since I did watched the Agretzko video. And obviously there's other ones like the Cyberpunk Edge Runner video, which I've not seen. But I don't know. I think the ones that I know you for are ones that you're taking down another idea. And I think that's really interesting. And it's a good strength of yours, I'd say. I think you're good at it. So that's all. I'm happy with how good the latest video is doing, I will say. But then, yeah, that's just made me think. Made me think that. I don't know. But yeah. You know one thing, not really. No, I was just thinking about like the clip selection and everything of the craft of the video itself. I think it's good, but it just made me think that like I don't see too many videos of like this from you, but they exist. I just haven't seen them. Like this one, and now I fixed it. There you go. I feel like the other reason I'm stopping Digest is because I just don't think I'm good at it anymore. I gotta tell you that. Not you, but like generally. I don't know how backhanded or complimentary or like whatever this is. I'm like, again. Maybe it's just because I'm rusty over the month or something, and I haven't done it in a while. I don't know. I'm sorry if this feels like if I'm being insufficient or something. But yeah, just got me thinking. Anyway, but I just wanted to correct that or did amend that loose end for me. It always felt like a loose end. I was like, I do want to get to his Kill la Kill series. He's like, you should watch it and everything. I'm like, yeah, you should. Anyway, 3-year video, 3-year-old video. Yeah, I hope you took something out of that. I'm like, yeah. Anyway, yeah. And thank goodness that I'm, not thank goodness that I'm not doing that I'm getting worse at these sorts of things. I don't know. I just meant I'm awful at segues. But yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Anime Misfit for continuing AniTube Digest while I'm not here, and with the same branding and but her own way of doing it, and been pretty much weekly. There's been 4 installments out. Last one was sort of like covering 2 weeks because whatever. And I watched the first one, and I did watch the latest one just to see if there's any change or course or like progression or anything like that. And there pretty much isn't. It's the same format, and it's different from mine, where the videos are numbered, not like in a ranking at all, really. It's just like, here's the first one, here's the second one type of deal. And there's no not goods. She's kind of outright says, like, I don't really want to delve into that, and that's fine. I didn't really do any not goods either. I get it. They take a lot out of you. And I also obviously, she's not on camera. She has her avatar, which I do enjoy what she does with it, with the hands and with the movements and expressions in places. But I can tell, I guess, from the first one and the fourth one, I don't know how true this was, but I feel like the first one definitely felt unscripted. And in the fourth one, something about the wording felt a lot tighter and specific. So I think she did straight up write the notes and then just kind of reading the notes out. And she could do that because she's not on camera. And I'm like, yeah, that's way more like pointed and efficient. Like that just makes sense. And I could tell just by the lengths of the digest as they've gone on, even in this latest one where she's covering 2 weeks worth, it's a shorter digest than the first one because she's not rambling as much or whatever. But of course, there's advantages, disadvantages. I think there is more, I don't know, colorful commentary in the first one to me, whereas it's like interesting of what you would say versus the latest one feels very efficient. Feels very like, here's what I'll say about this thing, like planned almost. And that's fine. It's just 2 different approaches. And I think I can understand the latest one, the notes one, being, again, this is my presumption. Maybe there is still like obviously like reading some notes off and then maybe some commentary, whatever, some like unscripted stuff. I don't know for sure. That was the vibes that were coming off to me. And I'm not like, what about it? One strength or the other strength. I like the rapid fire, like kind of like going through just with commentary with the thumbnails and stuff like that, and like a 1 sentence thing at the bottom. I think that's pretty good. And you know what's also so funny? I'm pretty sure I skimmed through all 4 of these to be like, oh, if she talks about any of the videos that I was going to talk about, I just won't say it. Like, you can find the coverage there. But no, you found completely different videos from me. God damn it. And that's why I'm not like, kind of with YouTube, anime YouTube dying. It's like, no, they're just kids. Like, it's all younger people that we're not friends with, that like they're just doing their thing and maybe forming their own sagas and communities, and they go through what we went through basically. But they think there's like an elite or a mecca or, I don't know, an institution here. There's not anymore. At least it's not as homogenous or whatever, and YouTube's just bigger. This just happens with all the communities just on YouTube generally. The number of creators from like 2009 to 2017 was like this. I forget where I saw this chart, but it blew my mind. It was like 2017, there were about the same number of YouTubers, like not too many. And then around 2017-18, zhoosh, just instantly, just like exponential, a stupid amount of YouTubers now. And even just content creators. You don't even think just YouTube, freaking TikTokers and Twitch streamers and influencers on X. Oh, I called it X. Oh, God. Sorry. Not a dead name. Yeah, it's just so much more. So it is just remarkable that Misfits able to just find almost entirely new people. I've not heard of pretty much any of the YouTubers she was talking about. And obviously she helped with was using the AnyTube database, which was also really cool that's a thing, you know? Like, that's crazy. It beats me with it, having to have these 900 subscriptions now. But yeah. And then the videos of the week at the end. Pretty good. It's just great to see. And I always really like your commentary. I think you're a lot nicer, or at least better at your being more thoughtful, engaging with the video directly. I think for me, I don't know, I end up spiraling a little more about myself or some meta thing. I don't know what's ever on my mind, I guess, with it. But like, you see with the study of sword thing just now, I don't think I was very proficient about engaging what he was saying about Kill la Kill and being like, I agree with your take about fan service. Like, you're way more engaged with the videos themselves than I think myself. So I think you're doing a fantastic job, frankly. I hope you continue it. You'll see, in terms of, because I get it, the having to make a consistent thing is a lot, especially making your own stuff along with it, right? Yeah, it's a lot. But anyway, please support her. Go check it out. Please subscribe there, and passing it out. But I should also mention, straight up, this is what I wanted from more YouTubers. Like, I wanted us to engage more with each other's work more. But I am seeing that in commenting on their YouTube videos, and even just on Discords and stuff like that. There is that sort of thing. There's just something about videos that just feels like it's another level or something kind of provocative about it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, I just really wanted to make that shout out early. It's not early, it's now, we're in shapes. And that's like, okay, great. God. Anyway, yeah, really enjoyed this for sure. It's great. Yep, there it is. There's insane flaccid fucking. It was great. Sure. That's how I had that. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm so sorry that this digest is feeling me. I don't know if I'm feeling like too introspective or too checked out or whatever. It's also getting late. It's like 8:47, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13 more videos to talk about, and that's not even all of them. Yeah. All right, now just some videos that I thought were decent. Pretty good. I thought they were pretty good. I do want to start with Anime Back When having a discussion of really talking straight up about it, babbling about AnyTube dying. And I did take notes because he's talking about me a good deal of it, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And it's yeah, but the idea, some of the stuff that he brought up here, for me, of like why I'm ending AnyTube Digest and stuff, there's not enough quality content. Yeah, I've expressed that in some of the digests where like that's why I had to do every other week or whatever, because sometimes some weeks there was stuff I could barely scrape together a couple of videos and stuff that I need to give a stress of that I was interested in. Like, there was plenty of anime YouTube content generally, but my standards have gotten really high, or my areas of interest have narrowed a lot. Like I'm really not that interested in a lot of Shonen Tube stuff, or even though I love that content, like I love One Piece and I love Naruto and everything, it's watching videos about it just or a lot of other stuff that I'm just like that I'm not like looking to watch, or even to really just to engage with on AniTube Digest, right? But yeah, that's just my commentary on that. The idea that this is like a nostalgia issue, even him talking about AniTube dying and talking about the creators of the past, there's an attachment to the past and their childhood and stuff. 100% true. But also, I don't know, I guess there is a history aspect to it as well. Because it reminded me where, like, I obviously have an attachment to things, and I'm kind of overly loyal, that I've realized that, like, the camp that I've been working at for 14 years, 12 seasons, I'm still not like fully gone, like detached from that place. I don't think I want to work another summer because of I want to do this full-time job and maybe go to conventions and stuff like that. But I still am attached to the place, and I know if there could be an attachment in terms of like the past and nostalgia, like there is a factor to that. But there is just like a general interest in the place and seeing it continue, investment in the space. Kind of like how I still want to have an investment in the anime YouTube space. I just see Digest as reached its cap. It never really made it past 1,000 concurrent, which is still great. It's still a cool thing. And seeing other creators engaging with it and reacting to this ending, like Rekka is here, was really flattering. Was just really encouraging to hear and see. But I'm still engaged but the caring about it being dead means that you care, and it's not, and that it's still a thing that we want to, it's like still engaged. I was about to make a dumb analogy. Yeah, but like the history of the camp that I worked at, I want to share that with more people. So that's an aspect of it, I guess. Is it me being overly attached or nostalgia and I need to grow up or something? Like, no, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily a negative thing or like a childish, immature thing. It's true that people have grown. You were right about my age. I am turning 30 in a couple months. And I was 25 when I started Digest, for sure. It's just also that, like, with anime YouTube, with anime in particular, anime manga, our hobby is cyclical. It is old blood. People are growing up and having their jobs and pursuing other things or whatever and growing out of it. And new people growing up, like becoming of age and finding this stuff and getting hooked on anime and manga like we did. And like the older people, like there's people before us, and people before them. It's a cycle, and this is what life is like, there is that, like, I am older now, and there's mortality to it. It reminds me of LOGH. Their Legend of the Galactic Heroes has kind of a running gag with a lot of the characters being 30 or turning 30 over the course of the series, and that's kind of like this over the hump kind of like you're not young anymore. And how does that affect you psychologically? Like, we're kind of bullying some of our roommates that are already 30, and they're kind of becoming normies. Like, they're very much not as much playing games or nerding out or doing certain things that we used to engage with a lot more. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, oh, that's a good thing that you're becoming more of a square. Like, no, I don't think that's a good thing, actually. Maybe that's immature of me. But I don't know. Or, like, whatever. The ADHD scale thing of me having ADHD, they never caught me. I was never diagnosed. I was tested for it, and I never really got it. My father has it, and I shouldn't be TMI, whatever. But my dad has ADD, and my sister has ADD. But never got diagnosed. I probably have it, but whatever. We're rocking, we're rolling. But you're right. There's something about that. I don't know. I just don't want to comment on that with my notes there. Yeah, this Phases of Life is just, yeah, I've talked about it at the beginning of Digest, but in terms of caring about who this stuff was made for, like, this is for kids, right? Like, let's not go there. Not because it's like, I don't know. For me, it didn't matter. I watched this shit when I was like in my mid-20s. Like, I watched Otomato Doremi in my 20s, like after I graduated college, and it was still emotionally devastating to me. And maybe that's like obviously clowning on people who are like, the adults who watch Bluey. Like, I get it. That's almost the same thing. Like, it's practically the same thing, for sure. And that's why I can't judge those people, because I have that similar thing. But it is funny. It is just kind of funny. But it's like, what do you do with that? I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't. God. Sometimes the unscripted shit really, really doesn't do it. It really doesn't hit. Oh, well. But yeah, like the idea of people getting, burnt out on making videos or retire. Like, we had plenty of people retiring. I've had plenty of people retire. I've covered retirement videos here. And then those people unretire sometimes. But there is also, like, I actually went through, because that post that Miles did a couple days ago of asking people for their favorite anime and manga YouTubers that have under 10,000 subscribers. And I gave him just this list of kind of like the goods, But that was me. I went through my long subscription list, kind of looking through that, making sure if I got everybody. And doing that was so sobering or kind of sad, or I don't know, where like, oh shit, that person, holy shit, what happened to them? Regularly have an upload. I don't remember an upload from them or whatever. It's like, it's been so long since I thought about this person. Or like, wow, it's been a year since XYZ person uploaded or whatever. Man, it is just crazy. But for me, it's like, all you can do is just the next upload, next one. If you're up for it, it's the weird thing with YouTube. I've talked about it. It's a weird thing. Like, a lot of people don't retire; they just stop. And that's another thing. I was just thinking about it, where maybe another reason why I'm not as excited or motivated to really get into another anime YouTuber, like any of these new people. There's a couple new people I'm covering here. I'm not as interested, because my thought now is, okay, how long are you going to be here? How long are you going to last? That's all I'm thinking. And that's so weird. I never used to think that about YouTubers, because you just kind of assume that they'd upload forever. And they don't. No, they don't. So it's weird. So to me, like, we're kind of hitting that point for me. And that's why it's hard to invest in new ones, and I get just reminiscent about the old ones. I don't know. I guess I get it, but for me, it's like, I just got to keep doing my thing. I have so many ideas. I just have so many ideas left in the tank here. And I'm just like bummed that I only have so much time to work on them. Especially now that kind of different phase of my life that is thankfully still involved with anime and manga. Really just anime. But that scene still, like, it's my full-time job now. I'll get into it more when it becomes more developed, but let me just say that I have a continued vested interest in the development of this community, the growth of this community, the sustained passion, keeping the fire going, not just for me, but for all of y'all. And we want to make that a thing. By we, I do mean not just me. Anyway, it's a new era, but we're gonna try it. Didn't even mention the swell of, I'm reading my notes, didn't even mention the swell of animosity. Yeah, so like, Rekka didn't even, I don't know if he just like avoided this or never really felt this or whatever. The amount of people that don't like anime YouTubers, period, generally, like as a concept, because there's just so many, because they get the assumption with like Joey or whoever, like someone that this one guy made a dumb video and now all of us are shit. Like, so stupid and bad, but they exist. It persists. It doesn't matter. It's the perception. Oh, but this one's good. Anyway, what do I gotta do? Whatever. That, you know, that even didn't cover that sort of thing. Like, I think that severely handicapped our outreach and continue, because we were like really exploding in that era that you're talking about of like 2017 or whatever. And around that time is when certain YouTubers made certain mistakes and kind of soured the scene almost, even though a lot of us had nothing to do with it. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, this is my 2 cents on that one. But yeah, I really appreciate you talking to a camera like that and staying engaged, and yeah, love seeing you in the streams and whatever, and hope we continue rocking in the free world. I don't know, fuck am I talking about? My God, I'm losing it. I need something. Wow, who'd have thought recording for over an hour does a number to clear and sweet. And paid a visit to the brand new Kyoto Animation Memorial, and it's just him sitting in front of the statue there and just kind of ruminating about some valuable life lessons that he's learning with his relationship to media, but like this is real, or like the kind of a real connection to these people, and doesn't have anything necessarily profound. It doesn't feel like he took multiple takes or planned a lot, like specific things to say or whatever. I think it's just the moment, and he's fine with that not being super like attention grabby or something. I just think it was a sobering, tasteful moment. It's like, I felt the need to do this, and and he's not super concerned about saying something specific and profound or whatever. He's like, I'm not sure what else to say here or whatever. Is candor in this, and just the moment, really, he let the moment resonate, really. And I think that was really honorable to the people who died for that moment, and just for like, hey, this has been 5 years since this attack happened, and a lot of their community is so much. A lot of the people in the community, I think, became fans post-COVID. Like, there was a huge boom, and so a lot of them weren't around when this happened. And you also think of the amount of people that have cycled out that were there when this happened, and in the years since have stepped away from anime manga scene. Yeah, you really didn't have that many people reflect on it in the 5 year, but maybe I missed it. maybe there were people that I don't know. It's definitely in the rear view for a lot of people, but I appreciated that you still kept it like, this is meaningful type of thing, or this is something we needed to still meditate on. That was just really nice. Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'll make the public thing whatever. But like, gotta talk to you about Sailor Moon now that I'm done. Now that I finished watching it, we gotta talk about it. We gotta make a thing. We gotta do something. We gotta collab. Please, let's do it. I don't know what it is, but let's fucking do it. Can't be the last digest. Gotta talk about Bob one more time. And I was happy that he uploaded something with, he had kind of a bit of a break. He just got really busy, and I appreciate that he was candid about it in this particular video about Saburo Ichi. I didn't, I do think it's similar to his other videos in terms of just showing you the material and getting you exposed to it and getting you a taste of it. And his commentary on like what the manga is like, and that situation was really weird and interesting. But I guess that my favorite part of this video is the sharing and engage with it's just sharing with the his personal experience, what he was going through at the moment. And I guess the self-realization of like, I derive 75% of my happiness through experiencing media and not so much from outside things, or something along those lines. Of that reflection was similar to what Clearance, who I think was talking about, where taking your relationship to this material, I guess, which is something it's always good to reflect on, similar to the Dogen clip that we did a little earlier in Digest, where it's just this awareness in our relationship to this media, I guess, and to what we do as well, because it becomes so much of what we do. It absorbs a lot of our personhood. I don't know. It's just very all encompassing sometimes. So this job, not that to me this is not a job, but it's an obligation. This is an obligation because I feel the compulsion to do one more digest. I'm like, I thought it was ending. I'm like, no, I'm doing one more. But here I am. No, because I didn't want to just end it like just suddenly one day that he went out for cigarettes and left. I never wanted to end digest this that way. So it's ending like this. Basically, there was so much more self-reflection in this than it's so much more about me than about the video. So I apologize. But like, I did want to make a separate video about just reflecting on digest itself, but I feel like I'm doing that here. I don't know. I just want to do more like stats and stuff. Like, how many not goods did I give? Well, who was the YouTuber I gave the most reviews to? Who was the one I gave the most not goods to? I don't know. I think those sorts of stats would be interesting. But it would just take me so much time to fucking calculate or whatever. I should have done that earlier or throughout the fucking summer, but I didn't. Whatever. Yeah, I want to do some kind of post-mortem about this series, but anyway. Yeah, but I really appreciated that hearing from you. Just using this anime review as an excuse to check in on these people, on people, Like, that's, I care about that at this point. Maybe it's very parasocial of me, but like, how parasocial is it when, like, we've talked a lot, like, personally, whatever, and, I don't know. I hope you're doing well. That's all I should say, I guess. Yeah, similar thought. This pairing these two just felt right to me, I guess. I did check out Craft Store's both of his videos. Obviously, the Joe video is just catnip to me. Like, are you kidding? Like, of course, I'm gonna like that video. But this one, I just felt that there was more. It stuck out to me more. Adaptations, watch orders, and finding the best experience is something that I've definitely wrestled with, struggled with, and it is a little related to what I'm working on now in terms of the warm-up video. Again, about me. Sorry. I'm so obnoxious in this digest. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is something I think about a lot, and I think Crafts. It was just great to hear from him about this topic, because the other thing I know about Kraftsdorf, if you follow him on Twitter, is the media threads and just the sheer amount that he experiences and completes and consumes content, that sort of thing. He's a machine about it. So just hearing his perspective and thought process and the struggles that he's like, which version of Persona 3 should I play to get this and that experience type of thing, and crafting that, is such a common struggle, but something that's not ever really articulated the same way as I think a lot of people should otherwise think about. And all not weighing in on one, like, oh, the answer is this. Like, he never really, like, except for like One Piece, I think he does kind of like, where should I start with One Piece? And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you have the Luffy dumb face or whatever. Like, that's your one concern. You're like, no, that's where you start. But the rest of them, it's like, I can get it, But yeah, the different versions and the psychological behind this sort of thing, and the myriad of examples you give, I think was really interesting and not predictable at all. It doesn't feel like obligated to mention Monogatari. Like, yeah, you do, but there's Fate as well, or these other series for me that I'm familiar. Similarly, like, where do I go? Or Haruhi. You mentioned Haruhi as a common one, of course. But yeah, it's funny with how common this is and the sheer amount this can go. I think you say at the end that there was like a rambly video. I don't know how scripted this was. If this wasn't scripted, I couldn't fucking tell. I think you did a very, very good job if it's unscripted. But yeah, there's just something about that. Just it bounced around in a place that it seems kind of weird and aimless or whatever. But you didn't need to. I don't think it needed to be that structure filled, because it's such a metatextual conversation that it feels like a discourse, discussion almost, and not like a this is boring. Make a point, I guess. Yeah, I think it was a great discussion for sure. It's great. Okay, so this guy Orange, I think he commented on Digest videos like, "Oh, I just found this," and whatever. I'm like, "Oh, so you make videos?" So I checked out the not the latest one they've uploaded, but like it was at the time the latest one, and it was doing fairly well too. has done fairly well for their size and respective videos. LGBTQ anime is complicated. I love gay people. And man, I was just kind of fascinated by the audacity of this orange, of this fruit, to the form this video took. I think was good. The reason I think it has the views that, or the attention it does, isn't just the subject matter, whatever. I think the concept is very catchy. Of like, here's a spectrum, a gay spectrum, and you have different kind of categories and stuff, and then you slowly reveal which shows you're going to kind of talk about in each of these categories, almost. And then it does really feel completely off the cuff in terms of why they're in these categories. But then the audacity. I've never, we clown about people putting, like, keeping the 9 anime watermark in like the corner or something. Like, have you ever seen a YouTuber just have 9 anime open, like on their, like a screen share of 9 anime, and they're scrolling through, like kind of clicking through the timeline of the episode and kind of commenting on it, and like very clearly kind of like as they're talking, you can hear the clicking, and they're just like, it sounds very off the cuff, and that's just how they're doing the anime clips of just clicking around. And there's one point when they're doing like Little Witch Academia, we're like, oh, this part got copyright claimed. It's like, I wonder why, because you're playing the thing uninterrupted for like 15 seconds on 9 anime. And like, oh my god. I don't know. That was just, the efficiency is a little too much, I have to say. I don't know. But I'd never seen that before. And you know what but the thing is, I turned around on it almost. I kind of turned, at first I'm just like, the audacity of this bitch. For people, as someone like me who's like, way too much into my editing and whatever. This reminded me of the feeling you have, at least I've had this experience personally as a fan. We go to a friend's house who's similarly into anime as you, and your discussion is just you guys talking about this stuff as you're on like your friend's desktop, and he's kind of clicking around. I don't know if this particular thing of like going on 9 anime and doing what you were doing, but like when you went to like describing the manga of one of these series, and you just kind of you have Google Images open of like, you typed in the series or whatever, and it's all just the cover art. Like, obviously one could critique that of just like, show actual panels or whatever. Like, you could skewer this guy, but I couldn't bring myself to, because it was just so casual in the delivery and the unscripted nature of it. And I couldn't get into this, or like, I couldn't understand this sort of thing, and really like spitball, like water cooler style. There was just something very grounded and even keel, or not even keel, I don't know. Just very relatable, I guess. Where it just felt like a friend that you're just kind of clicking through and nerding about anime with. Which is a cool experience, which is like kind of engaging, the stuff that they're saying about some of these titles was, I don't know, kind of, it was shallow in some places and then kind of in others, but I don't know, I was surprised. I was just actually really kind of vibing with it. So yeah, that's kind of my backhanded compliments of this video, because I just couldn't believe it, which is I don't know. I think like I said it, if I shared that with like some of my Discord, like, are you really? I don't know. But I thought it kind of charming. I don't know. I don't know how you'll take this or whatever. But yeah, I just I can see the success of it. I'm like, yeah, I get it. This is cool. Yeah, we're gonna do a streak of the new people, of people I haven't talked about here. There's this Cogsy. I don't think I've talked about any of his videos, but he's already got more subs than me, and he started 10 months ago. So I don't feel great about that. Just giving that pretense. I always give that pretense. Yeah, his videos have all done extremely well, and I'm not that interested in most of them. It is what it is. But the reason Manga got dark, I think it was linked to me in my Discord, actually. But so I was very surprised that like the tone that he has here, very youthful, memey. By youthful, I just mean like kind of young, like the energy was there and whatever. And the fascination. It honestly reminded me of Eden, Corey White Eden, back when, when he made his videos on his channel, and then goodbye. Well, he did milk and now has 1 million subscribers. Hell yeah. But I just mean, like, it had that sort of memey sort of energy to it, which was very infectious and very fun. But he's talking about Gekiga from the 50s and 60s. And it was just like, the energy was really great. And I feel bad that this is like not doing so hot for him in terms of views or whatever in comparison, because it just, I don't know, it just was really cool. I just really liked the video a good deal. I think I was a little disappointed towards the end of it, because I think he just, like, very clearly in the video, he gets sort of like overwhelmed by the technicalities of who started Gekiga and like the argument that kind of formed there that he's starting to talk about. But then he's bringing back, so what about the beginning of the video where I said this is the road to Satan? And I feel like he just kind of gives up. I don't know. I think there was, I just feel like it stopped all of a sudden. It was like, I have to stop. A lot of his videos are less than 10 minutes. Like, there's only one video that is at 10-minute mark, but the rest of his videos are 5, 6, and this one's 7. Like, they're very intentionally short videos. So I feel like it may have been like a case of like, he got to that point and he was like, well, I have to stop. I don't know. And that was surprising to me. I can get it. But I think his description of the Gekiga manga that he talked about was really good. And him talking about Shin Takarajima from Tezuka and everything was cool. I just think there was this more he could have done. Because Gekiga is a whole movement. And there was other magazines and other major notable titles. Like, he mentions Golgo 13, like, very barely, but it's like, but Golgo 13. I don't know. Even just, like, I thought it would have been interesting where Gekiga was response to Tezuka's Shin Takarajima. And they're like, manga can be more than this or whatever, and here's the different term for it. And there's a period in history where Gekiga gets so popular that Tezuka, the guys that they were trying to kind of take down almost, gets nervous. And he's like, all of my stuff is kind of kiddie. Shit. And they're all kind of like, everyone's, and he's choking. It's called like his winter period or something, like kind of a dark period for him, where he's just not getting it and a lot of stuff's not clicking. And he finally gets he's like, all right, I'm going to embrace the Gekiga thing proper. And he fucking creates Blackjack. And it's like one of his most successful series, period. And blows the doors off of, Gekiga as a manga. It's just from what from the surface level of information that I've gleaned or know about. But that's really interesting that like Tezuka ends up embracing the thing that they're trying to get after. I think that would have been a cool full circle moment to mention. I don't know. I would just kind of I think there was a really great momentum here, and the contrast again of the very youthful, memey and sharp, like funny, like really good craft here, and just like really punchy and like fun delivery, with this context of like actual kind of talking about history shit, which, can be kind of dry. And a lot of people who are interested in it aren't very good at making this sort of thing engaging for this audience. I don't know. I think it was just really cool. But then it just didn't go that full direction, I guess. I don't know. I just was let down by it in that sense, but I was just really excited to see it. Looking forward to, I don't know if I covered more because Digest Not Happening, but I was happy to cover one of your videos because I just feel like this was definitely a channel that I think is should look at. I think it was just doing really, really well. It's fantastic. And another channel that I haven't talked about that's doing pretty well too, also has more subs than me, only started 3 years ago, with some like reactions and things like that, doing all right, and then kind of caught a good wave of his, using his identity to give commentary to more popular series. Seemed to do pretty well, but then he's doing especially well, like pretty darn good with this count, with the amount of views and stuff. With this Eureka video, all of a sudden it was just recommended to me, and then I found him and subscribed. How One Man Ruined This 2000s Classic. He doesn't really, I knew it, and obviously like this is what you do with YouTube videos. Obviously, it's like one little thing that like, this is a good title, but don't really use it at all. It's just kind of an overview of Eureka 7, how much he really likes the original series, and then everything after that with AO and the High Revo movies is like, you know, kind of describing why they're weird and kind of like not what we're interested in, and really giving a really good contrast of that. Like, this is what we liked about Eureka, and where is that here, kind of thing. And not really like super specific or skewering it and being a thorough breakdown or something. I think it was just I think it was good. It was a good distance as like a fan of this stuff. And he's like, I'm not super into mecha and stuff, but man, when it gets so complicated or whatever, I think his candor's great, and I really like him being on camera, like as with a green screen thing. It gave me Internet Pit Stop for sure, but not like in a very particular Nakey Jakey type of thing. I don't know. Look at all the different from that. But like, yeah, I just really like his vibes. I really liked what he was doing in describing Eureka 7 and why it's cool. I have my issues with it. I definitely didn't drink the Kool-Aid necessarily with it, because it wasn't my first, not by a long shot. So I kind of got into it like, but I think this was valuable, and it just cool hearing from this particular perspective and not just an older head, I guess. Again, he has that kind of youthfulness to him that I like a lot of us with AnyTube dying. It's more like our gen, but these guys are here, you know, and then that's the new wave. So I mean, engage with these guys. They do a good job. I think blank thoughts, good channel. I've only seen that one video, really. Definitely interested in his other stuff though. Yeah, I wanted to cover one Mudan video. He's been freaking incredible with consistency on doing all the vlogs in Japan and everything. And here's reviewing Japan's Moomin Park, and I'm just I'm a very big Moomin fan actually. So I was like, yeah, I'll check this out for sure. And it's a nice vlog video. I think he's very honest about his perspective and willing to get kind of cute or showing some stuff in an honest, not sensational light while still being honest about it. The candor's good. I think the music in the back is good. I don't know how much how much is he editing these versus sending it to one of his editors, because he has a whole editing team and he himself is an editor, right? Like, he's probably had someone else doing these in terms of editing and just kind of sending the footage or whatever, maybe. I should check the description. Well, he doesn't credit anyone in he's got the songs used in the video, but maybe he's editing these. That'd be interesting. Or maybe he's not. I don't know. But yeah, I just really like seeing this from him, and seems to be doing pretty well there. Crazy, he's just doing the thing every day. I think I imagine he's there for a full year. See if it keeps going. I think Geeks Plus should invest in him for sure, and actually try to keep him around. I don't know if that's if it's through Geeks Plus that he's doing this necessarily. Maybe. Great, but it was just nice seeing him, and I hope he's doing well. So it's weird because there's going to be another half of this digest. So I was trepid about trepidation. I don't know, weird about giving the decent and best categories when there's going to be a whole other section, and some of those might be decent videos, some of those might be best or whatever. But I guess it's kind of like part one, part two almost, but not really. It's all one video. But if I was to give the batch, the ones I have here, were the best videos of the week, I was just like, fantastic. Yeah, dude, wow. I don't know. And then also just like solid work, solid. I want to start with Otaku Versus. Oda-chan, Internet Curse. There is just something so seamless about this now. Like, they've been doing this for years. They've just been making fucking anime for years now. And the experience is so palpable. It's not nearly as gimmicky. Not that the super gimmicky. Obviously, the first one was riddled with that sort of thing, but it's been a long time since then. But it really feels like the last two videos, they've pivoted again. And I've obviously haven't talked to Yusuf in so long since the last time we, since the first video, whatever. And obviously, things have changed or whatever. But the approach now, where it's this kind of more chibi kind of. It reminded me a lot of the slice of life stuff. I can't say it reminded me of Hidamari Sketch when I haven't seen Hidamari Sketch yet. But I guess anime like that just would want me what I thought of, really. Very simplistic, kind of relying more on the dialogue and the not as much vibes, and not going for shooting for the moon with like a story or something like that. Being efficient with the storyboarding and kind of almost like a Yonkama almost, and something, I don't know, very similar to these other kind of like down to earth slice of life all girls type shows, cute girls doing cute things type of things. But yeah, very efficient in the animation in that way, but really just keeping to character and not doing something wild or crass or ambitious. Like obviously this the internet curse here is a rib on the ring and everything, but they're not going super crazy with it or something with like a ton of graphicness or something. I don't know. But that was good chill vibes, and I don't know. I the seamlessness of this, like this is a fan animation or this is anime, like indistinguishable for me. I think it really is just like they have all the mannerisms right, and the vibes are just correct. I don't know. But it's just really encouraging seeing that this still be alive. We're wondering how long it would go and where this would take us and everything, and seeing them really seem to thrive with this this direction has been really encouraging. And I'm really excited to see kind of where it goes from here, where it continues to keep going. But it's really nice to see that they've really kept it up and doing good stuff. Yeah, just wanted to give that last kind of like one of those things that I'm choosing videos where I feel like stuff does as a last digest type of thing. I'm like, this is a good thing to mention, I guess. Yeah, I was impressed. It was really good. Can you tell I'm tired? I'm getting there. I did want to give Kaiser Shonen his flowers. Congrats on 5K. But also the this particular fight of being World Trigger, Osamu versus Kazuma's fight analysis, and then it was like, yeah, I get very similar vibes of what I did with my my LGH fight analysis a while ago, going kind of play by play and giving the broader context of it. And I like the focus on heart, or just like this is why World Trigger matters to me, and it's like this is the stuff where I care about, and not like trying to impress you, like you should watch World Trigger, guys. And there is something, I don't know if it's what it would be, or like the last time I watched one of Kaiser's videos, there is a really great infectious confidence in his delivery here. I don't know if if that's just how he's talked, that there really isn't that much anything different, but there is, I think, like the knowledge that his stuff is doing well now, like it is getting traction and he is growing his subscribers and everything, that exudes confidence in the video making. And it can happen conversely, I think. And that's, I think, where I'm in a bit of a death spiral. What I was doing really well there, I went like a couple videos where I did not talk about myself, and there it is. But I just think the confidence was here. Whereas, like, yeah, my videos did really well on World Trigger. Here's a fucking another one. Like, get on this one. And that's just really great. That's awesome. I know he pitched me a couple of like, what do you think of this like particular edit and things like that. Yeah, and I think that in the context of the full video, they work really, really well. Because again, I think you're really trying to give people World Trigger without just like kind of the video essay type of thing. You're really trying to almost not recreate it, I guess, but elicit a similar sensation, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a good idea with the intention of the video and where it goes and how you're using it in the context of the video. I think really worked. Yeah, I think it was a great idea, and I just wanted to compliment and give you flowers. Where like, it's really cool to see that you're building more confidence and get, not that there was an insecurity or something vibing in the thing, but it's just obviously like your first couple of videos, there's it's like, I have this whatever, and the more you make them, the better you get at them. So that's being palpable here is what I guess I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think it's great. Hayden, gotta give the goat. I at this point where we're like, in terms of people I'm really looking forward to seeing videos from, and excited to see their trajectory and everything, and we're talking more often and everything. It's just yeah, it's really remarkable stuff, and the amount of editing you're doing here too. Well, again, the Precure video, like finding that balance you of like the nice edits with the manga and certain things, but then able to kind of rest a bit and coast a bit with this really great background and your avatar, and just using the footage inside there in the TV, like it just feels like a super polished video while still having that, while finding those efficiencies. Because I think you're similar to me, where like get very burnt out on, not that I don't speak for you or anything, but like burnt out on these edits that we are capable of doing and want to do, and when you have the idea, you just gotta do it. But that becomes like doing that for an entire video is very, very exhausting. So you really want you finding the relieves, the alleviations type of thing. I think that was just great seeing the craft really refining and finding this medium. And I was thinking about it when I was watching this video, because I feel like a lot of your videos in the past, they're super show-offy in ways, like, look what I love, look what I can do. Not in a show-offy way almost, but like kind of, I guess, where you have a lot of these great imaginative ideas and you put it all in there, and it just, there's so much room and effort into it. And that's why it just pains me when like some of your stuff is unlisted. It's just so weird to me. And not that I've given you whatever about it before, I guess, but like, I don't know, man, some of your stuff is incredible in terms of the stuff you've done in those videos, and I miss those to some extent. But I guess there is just this like refinement in, like, there's again a maturity or confidence in the skills. Not that there was immaturity in the other one. I don't know what I'm saying. Well, it's not repetitive commentary like my other coverage of your previous videos, at least. I don't know. I will say though that, like, unfortunately, I had no knowledge of this particular material, and what you dove into in terms of the shoujo content and this analysis here, it's like, yeah, this is the direction they go with, like, really scoping in the relationship stuff and the dynamics. And I feel like it really works if you've read it, if you've like know these characters. But I think it was hard to, like, I think when you're describing some of the events that happen, like, oh, this girl says that she said this, and then that led this character to do this, and then this happened. And like describing those moments, I was able to follow it. And then when you get to the relationship stuff and that like analysis, it sounds legit and like thorough and interesting. To me, it's hard. It was harder to follow because I'm not familiar with these characters very much. I'm like, what's toxic about it? I don't know if that's like the nature of the shoujo content, whatever. I don't know. I wasn't as able to easily follow it. And once again, I love hearing the more personal aspect, and you're saving that for like I think using that as the capstone kind of conclusion at the end was really smart. It was just great as a format, I guess. Yeah, I think it's just really great with and also you got this video fairly out, not like not super forever or whatever. I don't know, there's things about this video in a lot of different ways that feel like a maturity step, and not like in a way that, again, your stuff was immature, but there's a refinement. I guess I'm just repeating myself as I do. But yeah, it was really good. I even with me not kind of like stuff going on in my head, whatever, I'm like, yeah, it's a Hayden video. It's really, really good. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. Nate with a friggin' firecracker. Dungeon Missy is my new best friend. My phone is blocking the title. Yeah, man. Well, one thing I'll say about it is that this one, the concept of you kind of comparing Dungeon Meshi and Frieren, I think is great, and you bring the right energy to it. But it was just so much like more in Dungeon Meshi's favor, and not like. And by the time you had brought up Frieren towards the end again, I kind of dunk on it more, and like, damn, I don't know. It wasn't as much of a comparison as I guess it was being pitched, or as you kind of implied it towards the end. I was like, wait a minute, we're trying to get to free run here. This was supposed to be this. And another thing that was dynamic about this video that I was about was the way that like I could watch the timeline like section by section, and it felt like you were like reacting and analyzing it as you were watching the show. There's just something about like the chunks and the way that it keeps going, where it felt like you watched a certain part of the show and really described it really articulately how you felt about it, like how you felt about it at the beginning, being kind of like middling about it, and then really like, oh, I get it now, or this other thing. It felt like as you were progressing through the show, you kind of checked back in, but didn't have any delineated. It wasn't like this episode of this. Oh, I thought that it wasn't like that, but there was something about the writing here and the way it was broken up that came off that way. It was interesting to me. And I also find it interesting that like you're so like assured of like you know that this is a complete manga, and it looks like it's getting a complete adaptation type of deal. But you really still is like, I think it's going in a great direction. If it can just do this and keep it up, whatever. And then like, I mean, we can find out. I would be so tempted to just find the fuck out. And I think that's part of it. Obviously, my general rule of it, like, I'm so kind of burnt out on seasonals because they just don't end it. They don't really have an ending. They're manga, and then you're getting season 2. Fuck you! I don't know. I get it all the time. I gotten it one too many times, so I'm just like, yeah. But I love the way you phrase that. Again, the energy you have, the snark, but also just being very specific about talking about the show. And it felt like I actually understood it and watched as if I watched it. There's a lot of like countless fucking anime YouTube videos where like it's about an anime I've never really seen or haven't seen in a while or whatever, and it's hard to really follow what they're talking about a lot of the time. It was so clear to me the whole time when you were talking about Dungeon Meadow, I had not seen, where it really felt like, oh, I get it, but I don't feel spoiled either. It's not a fucking plot summary or something. I don't know, just you talk in such great, grounded, brass tacks terms about this material. It was just phenomenal. I was like, this was so good. God damn it. And the roasting of Frieren in those places, and I actually had heard these complaints, but some reason the clips you were showing and the particular way you were describing it, I'm like, oh, that's what a lot of people are feeling middling about Frieren specifically. I'm like, damn. Yeah, but it was just so clear. Everything felt like phenomenal, like so good. Really fucking good. Holy shit. Keep it up, man. Great job. And I'm gonna end this nearly 2-hour, got my throat, digest, this one, on Roger Smith. Out of nowhere. 30-minute video about a manga, and he's doing manga-nations. Let's go, Roger. Oh my god. I was so happy to see this. Just to see the kind of the comfort zone almost, which is like, yeah, Roger doesn't normally go this long, but he's certainly capable of it. And I did think at one point of like, did someone else edit this? Because like I feel like Roger's never edited on this level. I don't think that compliment or something. Like, hey, I don't know. But that's fine. Like, again, I think what's poetic about, to me, what's special to me about ending this particular recording with Roger is just that I say it. I try to say it as often as I can, but like he's the reason I was able to do anime YouTube. Like it got me the confidence to be like, oh, I can do this too. I'll never forget that. But I'm still doing it. I'm just so happy. I'm just really, really encouraged by it. And I was really engaged the whole time of him talking about this manga, and him reaching out to the author and, going through character by character and kind of like play by play almost of the whole thing. Not like a plot, so it didn't feel like that. It was really like, just exploring it and kind of, not going in obviously there's the angle of the dark side and everything. But it really is just like an analysis. Like, I don't know. It was just something. It's not a review, and it's not a direct. It was analysis of the characters, really, but I think it's just like an overview of the thing, in a way that just like comprehensive of the series itself and what it does it was just really nice. And yeah, the editing was really phenomenal. I don't envy it at all. Of it, I don't miss it doing all those manga movements and shit, like all the panels and isolating them and then moving. I was like, Jesus. But this was like really, I really like the aesthetic of this video a lot. Felt very cohesive and smart and satisfying when they would be like in perfect squares or I don't know, stuff like that. And it wasn't flashy. Like there are certain things that like that's kind of neat in places. But to me, it's like some animations, I guess some videos, they get to wait, they go up, or they kind of go super crazy with it, I guess. And that some people go ooh with that, and for me, I just go, oh. I get kind of exhausted. This one just felt like just really like plotting, consistent, and just like really sharp. Yeah, I was just really happy to see this from Roger. Really, I'm so happy. Really enjoyed the analysis and. Yeah, I had never heard of this one, and it was freaking awesome. Yeah, I was just, I was absorbed the whole time. I was just like smitten. I was like, man, this is great. I'm just, especially again, right? We were talking with this whole time about like anime YouTubers being, all of us being dead. Like we are dead. No, I just think it's like what Roger's here with like, how long did you toil on this one? Like, how long did you work on this, right? And that's what he's working on. And it's like, yeah, we're dead. We're at work. We're doing things, and we have other, other commitments, and what we're doing with our lives, and where we are in life in general, and we do what we can with it, or whatever. It just really got me. It was just encouraged because it was just like, yeah, we're still around. I don't know. It was just really great. Yeah, really loved this. Thank you for this. It was great. I can't say that enough. God, shut up. We are so back. The next day at 9 p.m. And there was all these videos that are over 50 minutes that most of them I just had to put my foot down. Like I do not have the time to watch all of these to their completion. But there's several of them are such kind of labors of love or such interest to me that I still wanted to talk about them in some capacity, but I got to be transparent with you guys. I'll tell you what the ones I did finish, ones I didn't finish or whatever. Pretty much the majority of these are samplers of what I saw and what I could tell you about them. But I did think that there was enough for me to talk about and to point your way or whatever. And then there's one more video that I have not watched yet that I was like, I don't want to just do 1.5 hour. I just, and I want to pay more attention to it, but it's 9 p.m. already. It'll be 10 p.m. by the time I finish it. So I don't know how long this will record for. So that'll be tomorrow morning. And maybe then I'll feel better about Ending Digest in the morning, I guess. I don't know. The Ending Digest is like at 10 p.m. I'm like, I don't know. It didn't seem right to me. So I'm like, you know what? This is fine. This is just what we're going to do. Starting with another video from Funyarimpa Foundation about Takeshi Shudo, specifically. Just like, I don't know if it was the next video. It was not. I guess it's just his videos on Pokemon specifically really interest me. So it just happens just how it crumbles. But yeah, it's about Shudo's liner notes and really kind of getting a fuller picture on Takeshi Shudo as a writer, as the head writer, clarifying a lot of the myths around this figure of like people who are really in the weeds with the Pokemon anime, kind of deifying him, and he's like, he wanted to make Pokemon dark or something, and making more level-headed things, and like, yes, he did say this, and this was what he was in charge of here and here, but kind of demystifying it a lot and being very clear-cut about what his contributions were. And so I really appreciated his thoroughness here and the substantiveness of these of this commentary. It's very little of his opinion about these episodes. It really is completely packed with Shudo's perspective and what he had to say about it. I think there was at least one episode, like the Lighthouse one, I think, where there was almost nothing to say, so he's like, let's move on. I appreciated that, especially as someone who watched the rest of these videos. The thoroughness was not always necessary or appreciated, but it is what it is. But yeah, like I think this was just a really, really insightful, especially as I am technically starting the Pokemon anime today. I haven't yet because I'm doing this, but I'm set to my next group of shows that I'm watching. One of them is the original Pokemon series. Really just doing Kanto for now, and then maybe doing Orange Islands and Johto as 2025 goes on, I guess. But this last 120 days of the year, I'm packing it with a couple shows, and Pokemon is one of them. So I'm just really excited about that, and I really appreciated that perspective that he shared here. And of the series of like what their intentions were, where they were planning on it just being Kanto, and then it became inseparable from the games, like in a way that like it was to its success. Like it was very separate from the games, and then it became a phenomenon the way that it has. It's in large part thanks to the anime, so the anime had to keep sustaining in the way that it did. I would really like to hear his further thoughts about further seasons in that context. I would just love to hear. I feel like I fully trust what he's saying now about anything related to the Pokemon anime, more so than a lot of people that either glaze it or trash it or dismiss it or something. I kind of like he's kind of become the guy for me. So yeah, I did really like this video a lot. Seriously, it's exactly what I want. Honestly, this is a cute, fun video from Spilled Ink. The Emichu and Didaris. Gotta be honest, I don't watch either of their videos too much. They are fellow Geeks Plus members, along with the Trash Taste guys, etc. And they're having Gigguk on as a guest, and one of their producers is like giving them the trivia questions, and it did give me the vibe of anime quiz. My patrons know about it, and they're like, what? They probably, what happened to that? I'm like, why do I do this? As a creator, right? You do these things and then you drop them. I do want to still do that in some capacity. I'm sorry I'm being kind of cryptic for like, wait, what is he talking about? Not going to give details until I'm ready to share them. But I still think about it for sure. Anyway, this was really cool, and I hadn't seen any other the videos from this collab channel. This was really cute and fun. I was kind of expecting like one of the Drawatistic or some of these other drawing shows, kind of like when I was on Funibure, where it's like the digital, like the trackpad, like a more of a digital surface, which I own now. Funibure, we should run that concept back. We should totally do another one of those, because I actually have a drawing pad now, and I want to use it more. Anyway, yeah. So, but this video is top-down camera, and you just see their hands and the paper, and they're just drawing on it. They don't really take any time with the process in this particular video. Maybe in other ones they do more of that, but it is just like a 1 minute, 2 minute sketch, and it's just like with Sharpie or something, kind of like write your answer on a whiteboard or something, kind of like the Trash Taste stuff that they've done with the After Dark or whatever. And so there are a lot of quick sketches, and I think Emirichu, and then Didas. Emirichu was definitely a lot better in the setting, in the environment, in terms of getting the sketches in a good fashion. Like she's really trained in doing it in like 1 or 2 minutes. Almost every single question she asked, how much time do we have? Like, she was very on top of that, and I think she's trained in being able to kind of fully form, because you have those sketching exercises, like draw this thing but you only have 5 minutes, draw the same thing but you'll now have 10 minutes, and scaling that scaling that in terms of art is its own exercise. But she was especially good in this in terms of drawing talent, ability. Didas was efficient as well, and then Gigguk was very interesting as like a complete newcomer, doesn't draw really, and some of the stuff that he drew was very funny, in terms of like him trying to draw Naruto and it looks like a hedgehog or something. Little things like that. But he did, spoilers, he does win the challenge amazingly, because they were just kind of like, yeah, I get what it is, or even, they're not really judging it on drawing quality, which is fine, it makes sense. But I guess it led to this, like, it ended up not being about the drawing so much. Like, it didn't matter how good or bad it was. And, like, that's fine. Like, that's probably the intention or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like having that as an aspect would have been interesting. And then some of the questions, man, like, some of them were, like piss easy, like, draw an apple. And it doesn't outright say that. The first question is, like, yeah, Ryuk from Death Note loves this fruit. And it's just framing it as like, all right, draw an apple, you know? And it's like, okay. And then there's other instances where, like, the question is trying to name, it's like an OP question, like, oh, the most popular song on karaoke from this anime. And it's basically drawing what that anime is. And so obviously the three of them had different interpretations of of like Eva, for example, and trying to draw, like, oh, the answer is Evangelion, right? But then, yeah, it ended up being not so much about the drawings themselves, right? In that instance, because, like, I think I think what happened in one instance was, they had to draw. The question was just draw Ken Kaneki, like, just draw Ken Kaneki, right? And it's framed as the question is, like, the main character, the OP says, oh, she ate Deo. And, like, yeah, it's okay, just draw Ken Kaneki. Like, the questions are not difficult at all. The prompt is just try to draw this character from memory, or draw the Digivice from memory. And Emirichu, who had never seen Digimon, is like, it's a watch, or then like, oh, it's not a watch, whatever. So, like, I think the answer is being determined by the drawing itself. Like, I think Giga, I don't know if they gave him the point or not, but he drew, like, one of the questions is you know, who is this character? What I was like, oh, it's obviously the dog girl Chimeric from the Alchemist, and he draws the dog, but he didn't draw the hair on top of it to signify that that's what's fucked up about it. It's the little girl's hair on this dog, and you're like, oh shit, right? So details like that with him getting that question wrong would have been more interesting, I think. But it did end up becoming more about whether he gets it right or wrong, or like knowing this particular answer. There's one question where it was about Psyche K, and none of them had seen Psyche K, and they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I get, like, not wanting to vet the questions, not knowing what the questions are so they can participate, but then you give them a question that none of them know even remotely, we're not even close to what the answer would be. So I feel like at the very least they could have vetted of, like, yeah, we've all seen this show, and, like, oh, we should all be able to technically answer that. I feel like they could have vetted it at least up to that point. And then, like, the last question was, draw the best girl from ReZero. And it's straight up just, no, so best girl that the producer chooses? So guess the producer's best girl from ReZero, and then draw that person. And it was funny at one point, too, that Didus, like, tries to draw Rem, and they're like, which one is that? He's like, oh, it's the other one. And they're like, which eye is close? Because both the twins have one eye, you know, obscured to the other, and he didn't have either of them obscured or whatever. He's like, oh, you see, and kind of, you know, laughs it off or whatever. And that's sort of, again, engaging with the art is kind of what I would have wanted more of. I know I'm being very nitpicky and, like, critical, I guess, of this video, but I really did like the banter and humor here, and the level of challenge to some of these questions was fun too. Like, the Nana question was great. And it was great. Or the card captor soccer question of, like, what was the first card that she captured? Good questions. Really good. You know, again, assuming those people have seen those shows. Or hadn't in a very long time in Emirichu's case. Yeah, but I don't know. It was fun. It was a good video, and I liked the format of it, of course. I just was, you know, I think it could have been a bit better. I'm just saying. But yeah, I did enjoy that a lot. Okay, the first hour-long video that I did not watch all of. It's from Sailor Guardian Hope, but I gotta check out the every studio. How did she call them? Parrot? I think she calls it Parrot. And I don't, I don't know whatever about, like, pronunciations or whatever. It was just funny. This studio Parrot, but I've never seen Parrot. That was just fun. Just funny. And it's reviewing those shows. Certainly review if the review is a summary of the show. There is commentary. There is comment, but like again, we're still here. And I didn't get to fancy. Like, I actually stopped at the crossovers. What I did actually was like I played the video like 1.5 speed and then set a timer for a half hour. I'm like, I'm only spending like a half hour on these hour-long videos. So I got about 40 minutes worth of a good chunk of them, with some exceptions later on. But yeah, but like a good chunk of it, like if it's an hour-long video with 5 magical girls reviewed, you'd think that's like 10 minutes? 10, 12, like 12 minutes, right? Maybe some prelude or whatever. But then she talks about Creamy Mommy for the first 20. Because it was obviously her favorite, and she has like all the merch for it and stuff like that. And that was fine. But it is like a full summary. It really was just like, here's describe the entire episode 1. This is like the beginning and end. Touching on some episodes and some relationships and characters that she likes. And then describing the ending in like such explicit detail. And I have to look again. Maybe it's there. I don't think there was a spoiler warning. I'm just kind of clicking through again the beginning of it. So maybe she verbally says it, but I don't think there was one. And look, it's a Magical Girl series. I think I'll still be able to enjoy Creamy Mommy, and how it ends sounds pretty what I would expect. But like in the detail, it's like, oh man. I don't know, it didn't feel like you left anything besides like the full show, which is fair, but like, I don't know. I anticipate a lot of this. Some of this stuff is really great to anticipate. The ending is one of the things you look forward to. I don't know. I felt kind of bad about that. Again, with not that much warning, and like, skip to this part of the video. Maybe there was a visual of that and I didn't see. I don't think there was. Like, nothing like that. I don't know if I've talked about it in her other videos, if that's the case in her other videos or whatever. Yeah. Same thing with Persia, especially because that one was way more episodic. So you really skimmed through a lot of it, and I don't know, I did get a good sense of what the show is like. And I really liked some of the descriptions of some of the parts of it, of like how crazy she is. But yeah, I just was a little irked about just how much you completely give the whole thing away. Especially for like Emmy later, which you only talk about for, I'm just looking at the timeline, 5 minutes. You just like, that's the whole thing in 5 minutes. To me, it was just like, oh. And the thing is, like, I really liked, I don't know if you really spoil, you do spoil actually. You do describe the whole last episode of Yumi, but like your hyper focus, you're not hyper focus. I don't know. The increased focus on this one episode of her eating disorder, like just having an eating disorder for one episode pretty much, or just having an issue with eating and her body image and everything. I think your breakdown of that episode and just kind of going beat by beat with that was really great and valuable. I also learned that the butler in that show is voiced by Shigeru Chiba, and I'm like, oh, good to know. Thank you. Yes. But then, I stopped at about the crossovers. So I don't want to comment further on about it, but I think that was my qualms with the video. I still really love your humor and your candor with like what you don't like the little scenes that you don't like and scenes that make you uncomfortable, and or just scenes that made you cry and everything like that. I think the candor is fantastic. I feel like that's the word of this digest, right as it's ending. I love using the word candor. Yeah, candor's the word for this one. It just fits. It just fits. It works. Yeah, but that was really, I don't know. I just feel like I was looking for more of that one in that one. And does give me food for thought when making my my Magical Girl video on Sally and Akko in later this year, hopefully by the end of this year, like November. I think it's probably like my October, November video, hopefully. Where it's like, I really don't want it to just be a summary video, like Akko loses her mirror and then it gets the thing. I'm like, like, I think all of us could do that peripheral glance from the first episode if you just watch the first one, and that's what probably a lot of people do if they're just trying to get a figure of what this show is, but then they don't want to watch all 40, 60, 90 episodes of Akko. But as someone who has, I want to kind of give a more database perspective. It's something that you probably hadn't heard of before or would be able to look up on the internet, is what I'm trying to do. Not that this wasn't substantive or something. Again, I really enjoy hearing about it, and it did make me more interested in Creamy Mami than I already was. Like I definitely was initially, of course, but not as much as I was after this video. I think it did its job in that capacity. But yeah, that was my thoughts on those. So you might not have heard of MG. This is the first video on this channel, but it is someone who's been on this channel before. I was about to say regular, and like, not really. There's not many videos from Numanji, but he's here in a new channel. I don't know the full context of the rebrand here. Is what it is then. But it's doing fairly well for the, a brand, like a fresh channel out of the bag and everything. And but yeah, it's a meaty 100-minute video on no, Dragon Ball didn't invent shonen, and seeing Otoku Ippiki Gaki Daisho on the thumb, it's like, okay, yeah, you know what you're talking about. Good. I will say I was pretty. Let down's not the word, I guess, but rats, because I had this exact video kind of like in the works or thinking about it. It was a section of my Naruto video that I wanted to talk about Shonen Jump as a magazine or just as a genre, right? And this buildup of like the lineage of Otoku Ippiki, Rin Nikakuro, Kinnikuman, Fist of the North Star, Dragon Ball. That exactly, you know what I mean? And I was thinking of a similar thing, not like going through each of the series the way you have. I only got up to Kinnikuman, like a little ways into Kinnikuman. But the way you described Otoku Ippiki was fantastic. And I think especially despite not having access to Rin Nikakuro, like translated, I think the way that you really hit home and emphasized how important it is in terms of Jump's success and what it meant for other authors, and specifically Akira Toriyama, and kind of giving Kurumada his due course. It definitely shows having, like, at the beginning of this video showing Land of Obscution, George Horwath's, I'm butchering that last name, that man on Twitter who can't shut up about Kurumada. He's the guy, man. And it is like, yeah, okay, I get it now. But I think he did a very good job of really emphasizing that, despite not being able to really engage or weren't so hot on the anime. I really appreciated you talking about exactly what happens with that adaptation, like why not as many people are kind of recommending that or anything. It's like, yeah, like it starts here at this point, it doesn't adapt this part of the story. I love hearing that shit, and it's what my next video is kind of talking about in a way, but it's in a similar kind of like understanding, kind of like databasey kind of vein, I guess, about adaptations. More spoilers, more teases. Like, I can't just keep it to myself. Anyway, yeah, but I think your descriptions of Otoku Ippiki and Rin Nikakuro were great, especially the way that I think you use Dragon Ball not as just as like, oh, it's not Dragon Ball, and kind of like as like on the thumbnail and the title and everything, but you really do use it as an anchor. When you're talking about these other series that people haven't seen, you relate characters or moments or attitudes back to Dragon Ball. Where like people say it's from this, did you see where it's coming from? Kind of deal. I think that was really smart, and you didn't bite off more than you could chew here. I think it was very smart to give a short side note to Astro Kyudon, because as someone, who like really dove into this stuff myself for my video, Astro Kyudon's very interesting and like a kind of a standout, despite not shooting up in the, like, not being super long running or whatever, or having this notoriety to it. It definitely has like, wait a minute, that's just Kuroko no Basket but baseball, or whatever, etc., etc. Well, basically, like what Rini Kakuro appears to offer, but Astrocudon technically had done it before, which is taking a sport but hyper dramatizing it to the point of supernatural occurrences. But I think your balance of that, where it's like, no, it is still rooted in boxing. It is just how Kurumada draws it was the exaggeration part. But yeah, I really like the video. I'm sorry I didn't watch all of it. And maybe what I'm about to say at least, is in the video in some capacity. For me, each of these 4 steps is kind of like adding a piece that Jump becomes kind of known for. Like it becomes a little. I have a particular idea for a shonen video that I do still think I can make, and doesn't feel like you've already made it. Although I do think you've done a lot of the heavy lifting for me, and I don't have to be like, this is Shonen Otoko Ipiki, give me the whole fucking thing or whatever. I don't have to feel like I do have to do that, and that's nice. That's nice. There's certain other videos that I just the next one I'm going to talk about, it just had me thinking. I don't know if I'll bring it up when I get to that video. Is that like there's something where like you don't feel the need to, or you don't feel like you can rely on other YouTube videos, even ones that are very well sourced and everything. I liked that you were upfront about where a lot of your research came from was from George, because I think it does color a lot. I think it's like having read George's stuff and everything. It's like, yeah, this is what he was talking about, or in the same focus and I don't know, framing, I guess. But I think that's valuable because it's bringing it into a different form and through your own words and stuff like that, but still being honest about where you're getting it from. It's creating it's a building block, and it's perforating the information more. That, like, I like that a lot. It's reinforcing this information, so it becomes more well known, and that's really important for our community. Where the more and more I'm thinking about this, and I keep saying this in my Discord and stuff like that, and in other places, but our community, that I've grown more and more aware of, is a very cyclical, recycled. I don't know if recycle's the word. Basically, a lot of blood gets cycled through. It's like, the body kind of washes through, like the circulation of the blood kind of goes through the whole body a couple of times. Not just a couple of times. That's just how it does it over time, like your life. That's how just blood works. There's this things like old blood and new blood. Kind of. I'm not a doctor. No, but the idea basically that like a lot of fans who hyperfixate on this stuff and watch these kinds of videos and perforate this information, they're very hyper focused and love this stuff for a couple of years, and then they move on to something else. They grow up, or it's not as much of an interest as this other thing, or they find another hobby or whatever. We have a lot of churn. We have a lot of turnover in this community. And then new fans come into that, and then they have their own. So that's why we have the same cyclical debates and common misconceptions and the same tired, like rehashed bad takes and misinformed opinions and yada 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 happens over and over and over and over, because they feel like they're making the same revelation. They feel like they're making a brand new revelation here, but they're not. And it's kind of partly why a lot of the stuff that I'm starting to make more is being done in such a way that I just don't see on YouTube or don't see on the internet so much. I'm like, why isn't anyone taking every line of dialogue from a movie and comparing it to the dub and the sub to prove which one's better? Like stuff like that. Like I'm trying to be a little more, and not to say you're not being out of the box or something. Like, no. Like, but what I'm saying is like what you're doing is additive, and it's good that it's being reinforced, because then hopefully these new fans and the new blood or whatever, we can start to kind of have this ball rolling. And I think it would be. I was watching your like Otoko Ipiki video, and I'm like, fuck, I really need to actually read it. I read like the first 2 volumes, I think, just for this video, right? For this Naruto video I was working on, and obviously it was way too much than I could chew in the context of that video, because that had like 8 other sections or whatever. And I'm like, I cannot be doing this. Like, I spend my whole time on it. Not to mention all the resources I would have had to get just to make a Like, I pretty much finished the script for it, and then when I started to get to that section, I was like, wait a minute, I have to download all these fucking clips from like 20 different other shows. No, I'm not doing that. I'll just shelve that for a different time. So I think that video, I still have to retool that script and everything to the bare core of what I would want to say there. But no, sorry. What I was saying was like you talking about Otakipiki and how you think a lot of fans would benefit from reading it, even what's available of it. You would really get a good sense of where all of this stuff is coming from in a way that you didn't necessarily say, but you were saying in a sense, but you didn't. I don't think you quite articulated it the way I would like to articulate it, which is exciting for me. Anyway, it was great food for thought. It's good to see this stuff. I'm like, yes, and I do want to finish the video for sure. I'm sorry I didn't get around to it. But like, as you'll see with these other videos, you weren't the only long one, unfortunately, this summer. So this is a channel I had no connection to. Wukong came on the scene a couple, not too long ago. Let me see. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that. He was uploading 8 years ago. A lot of Chinese myth stuff. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, kind of, he was slowly kind of doing a lot of Journey to the West material, South Korean stuff, and this stuff's good. But it really isn't like these last 2 years, which I just hadn't seen in a lot of the post-war things. He's really has a particular thumbnail style. So this is kind of part of a series of sorts, where at first he's kind of going through a lot of animations. I've not checked out any of these particular videos of like the ones that have a lot of anime in a row type of deal. I don't know if they're reviews or something, or how much he covers. But then, yeah, these more of these history-centered videos. And this one that I watched here is one of his longest videos. His latest one from 3 weeks ago was just a little bit longer. And it's about specifically the economic miracle in that period of Astro Boy onwards. I didn't quite get to how far it goes because I only got about like 45 minutes or so. And the thing is, I kind of forgot. It was about when he was starting to talk about Ultraman. Wait, Ultra, and I get that this is a very broad, multifaceted topic that you should say some stuff. There's plenty of other things about. The thing about this video, and I hate to start with a criticism, I really thought it was spreading itself very thin. There were so many things he was covering in such a rapid fashion, a lot of which I had never heard of before. Just like the history of some of the wrestlers of this particular wrestler dying, and wrestling had never been the same, and they were like, they actually want more fictional wrestling, and that's kind of where Tokusatsu filled that void. That's interesting. I don't think I've heard that perspective personally. And even just like some of the real world events that were going on, and it feels very well sourced and especially well edited. I think more so than the polish of like how nice it looks in terms of the framing and the moving of some of the pages that just like look way. I'm like, is this a preset or something? Like, this looks great in terms of like some of the page turning that you were doing. It's like I couldn't figure this shit out. I was doing that like manually in fucking Premiere. I was like, man, this looks way better. I wish I was able to know like some of the styles and the things you were doing. I assume it's After Effects or something. But it's really well polished, like really nice looking video. But more so impressive to me was just how nearly everything that you were referencing or bringing up had footage behind it, had something. It wasn't just like a static image off of Google that's kind of low poly or something like that. All felt very well sourced and like the thing, you know what I mean? Or just finding these little commercials or just the footage in general, I guess. The thing was, I will admit, I was a bit on my back heel with this because it just like this big video out of nowhere and feeling out of nowhere for me, I guess. Obviously, you've been working on this for a few years now, starting with the anime history thing. But even just, I had seen like a community post that you posted of like sharing Animetude's history of Mushi Pro type of thing. And I'm like, okay, so he's just taking from the Mushi Pro article that I'd already seen or whatever. But the more I was watching the video, I was like, no, he's not really engaging so much with the technique that like some of these people in Mushi Pro are trying to do that Anime Tudes describes in his articles on Mushi Pro that I find really interesting. It was really more so the economic approach. Like, it really is that economic miracle thing. I don't know if it was just that it wasn't as well articulated at the start of the video or something, or because I was on that back foot of kind of, I don't know, I had some weird distrust of, I don't know where it's coming from. It's not very well placed, I should say. But it was just something about this that I was just like, because there can be plenty of bullshit, poor information and stuff like that. And not that I'm a scholar or anything like that, but I think that with the sheer amount of information that you're giving, a lot of which I had not heard of before, from a YouTuber, and I'm saying this as a YouTuber, right? Like, I'm not trying to be like whatever that I'm holier than thou or whatever. I don't know. I just felt I'm a little more apprehensive towards, but I think just really the amount that the kind of things you were showing, and a lot of stuff that I had heard of in my peripheral. What little I have done research in looking in this period of time and what I've read, the stuff that you were bringing up and mentioning, with the occasional mixing of things I hadn't heard of, but didn't set off any bells to me in terms of like, wait, that sounds like bullshit. It was all good, honestly. And so I'll admit that I don't know if I was in the best headspace for a chunk of the video or sorts, but I was really starting to get into it about 20-30 minutes in. But then I was starting to realize just how relentless and kind of fast you're going through everything in terms of mentioning as much as you can. And we're like this, and at one point you were like, this is supposed to focus on Mushi Pro, but we can't not talk about Tatsunoko. And that was when I was thinking about like, yeah, Mercury Falcon's got a great video on Tatsunoko. You can kind of just, I feel like you could have relied on that video or just be like, yeah, this creator made a great video on that. Here's that aspect. But what I'm taking away from that is this, that would lead to this other point. The thing is, right, like, maybe it was, and obviously I didn't finish the video, so there's that. But a lot of it felt like there was a lot of information going on at the same time. And it was chronological to a degree, of course. But I don't know, there's a lot of things that are going on there and to explain, and it didn't feel as focused. I don't know how you would make a video of this particular thing. I feel like it would be through the channel of something of like, let's see what's coming out on TV at this moment or whatever. I don't know. It did start to feel like information overload, I guess, about the time where I was stopping, where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's talking about kind of like everything. But not in a way that I like, there's name dropping of certain things and little tidbits I'm getting that are fascinating, and the video is really well made, but it's I don't know. And obviously I don't know why I'm being like extra critical or whatever, but yeah, I think there's some degree of competitiveness or whatever of like, as someone who's made big videos like this or really loves this kind of content, seeing it is just intimidating, I guess. I don't know. That might be it. But yeah, I really enjoy it, the amount that I had when I was getting into it, and then I did have to kind of move on to these other things. So I'll definitely come back to it for sure. And I'm still subbed and probably check out your other stuff. At the same time, I also just want to work on my own shit, which is the rub here, isn't it? Isn't that why Digest is sort of not continuing? And I don't know, it's a myriad of things, but yeah, that's the rub of why a lot of us aren't watching each other's stuff, is because we'd rather work on our own thing, and then we end up making similar shit, and then it's like, oh frick, we could have worked together or something. Oh, damn, I didn't know you were working on that or whatever. It happens. Not that I was working on something like this or anything like that, but it got me thinking about that, where it's like, it still remains true. I don't know how true this is of you particularly, if you ever see this, that like, how much of an island are you? How much have you talked to other creators? Are you a part of any of our community? So we'd love that. And that's part of the reason why I've done Digest as well, is like, I feel like I've been able to kind of pull people in, and they find about other creators, and then they form connections with those creators. I don't know. I hope I contributed something to that extent. But yeah, this was really good. You guys definitely check this out. Another new creator I don't think I've heard of talked about here. Boom Haha. Watching every 90s anime so you don't have to. I get that the you don't have to is cheeky, number one. I don't think he necessarily has that demeanor in the video. He's actually very jolly in this video. What little I saw of it, and I also watched his second installment of this just to see certain things. He seems like a very like warm demeanor, and he's not like super curmudgeon-y or like whatever about it. He seems very like, wow, and then this happens, and then this happens, you know, kind of really engaged with it. I don't get almost any sense of what he's watched before or what he likes. I mean, yes, obviously, whether he likes it or not, whether he likes what he was watching or engaging with that in the anime, like whether he likes the anime he's talking about or not, he does make that clear. But I just mean in terms of like, I'm not like a mecha guy. Or like when I see this or whatever, like I don't get a better sense of him as a person. Not that I need that, I guess. I think it would have helped. Obviously, I didn't watch the whole video. And in this one, I didn't just kind of watch through until it stops. I did start doing that, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll just click around with the look through the anime he talks about here. So this first one, he went through all of them, and at the end does give a kind of outro stats thing. He went through pretty much every anime from 1990, and there's 40 shows. So I didn't like, you know, cross-check this with Mal of like what he didn't watch. But it's 40 at least. And then he does like this like 6 chosen ones, 3 idols, 2 isekai, 2 magic girls, 3 boxing, 2 giant robot. You know, he does it. It's not really the kind of stats I'm interested in. I don't know, just like it's little like stray fun thoughts or whatever. And then he doesn't give a rating to any of it. He just kind of gives it like, I have a witty statement to make about this anime out of 10. But he does sometimes be like, I liked it or whatever, which is fine. But nothing really like databasey about this so much. So it really like, and it is just a lot of his opinion, but not even that. It's actually not as much his opinion as it is, you fucking guessed it, it's plot summary, like, you know. And the longest part of this video is the Nadia section, where he does summarize the whole show. Like, beat for beat. Like, beat for fucking beat. 39 episodes. In, let's see, about 15 minutes? Yeah, about 15 minutes summarizes all of Nadia. And obviously giving some of his opinion here and there or whatever, but man, all right. Yeah, I've watched anime YouTube for a long time, and I've made anime YouTube videos for a while. Still not my thing, but I watched it. Went through it anyway, just like how much of it is opinion, and what will he say about it? Click through a couple of the other ones. There is Chibi Maruko-chan at one point, and he only talks about it for like maybe 30 seconds, and kind of describing like it's a fun kid show, and I like the OP, Dancing Man, and it's either the Maruko-chan OP or ED with the guy playing the flute or whatever. Mentions that, but then he also like he's like, oh, it's 1,400 episodes. Fuck that. Also says that the characters from looks like the character from Animal Crossing. And he's like, it's just a kind of a cute, fun show. And he's like, I watched enough for both of us. And he just has on text on screen 40. He watched 40 episodes of Chibi Maruko-chan, and that's all he has to fucking say about it? Like, I haven't seen Chibi Maruko-chan myself, right? But like, that's an institution. That's kind of a big deal. And that's all he has to say? The guy looks like Animal Crossing. Like, how? Now, I get that, but that's the thing. It's like, I'm just shocked because, like, I don't know, just it get me thinking about just like how much of this does he really watch? I think he does watch the whole thing of some of these shows. He clearly did for Nadia. I do think he did for Dragon Warrior. The first thing he did. I watched the entirety of every show minus a few exceptions here and there, which like I get, like I totally get, but like I don't know, like I can't tell with like Goldfish Warning, like he doesn't make that clear whether he watched the whole thing or not in the video itself. He doesn't really say in the video how many episodes something is. No, it does. He does. It says the release date and then just 4 45-minute episodes for Shuten Doji, for example. So like something like that, like yeah, okay. But doesn't really, but like you kind of assume that he's watched all of it, but you don't know for sure unless he really describes all of it and then gets to the ending and tells you the whole thing, you know. But then yeah, this video was 2.5 hours covering everything from 1990, and then 1991 is like 49 minutes because he only covers, I think it was like 40 shows or 20. I think it was like 20 because it's like 100 titles in 1991. But it was just like kind of remarkable to see this, where he did this for all of 1990 in one 2.5 hour video by himself, and then you have Core over here did this for 1989. And thinking about that, where like, you know, I had helped contribute a couple of the segments to that video, because like Core was very, I'm not in Core's head or whatever, and it's been years also since this happened, but like Core is very adamant, like not like pretty much none of those segments are plot summary. Pretty much, like maybe some of them were, maybe in some capacity here and there, but like I'm thinking about it, and no, none of us really took that approach. It was kind of a straightforward, either a review of it or finding something interesting to say about it, or some kind of creative outlet or way to say it about this thing. It was just made me think. It was just like, wow, all right. But then we do all that, and then this bit has 6.2K, and I don't even know how much. Again, I hate doing these fucking view comparisons. I'm sorry to do this. I shouldn't be, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay, yeah. Now it's 3 years later. It's got 11K, and then the 1992 video's got 5.4K. That's pretty good. Yeah, we'll take those. We take those W's. But then, like in 2 months, this one gets about half those views from the 89 video, and that one's close to 4 hours. And there's no, like, I don't know. I'm sorry to make the comparisons like that, but it's just what I thought of when I watched it. And as someone who collaborated in that video type of deal, this is what I think of, really. Yeah. Sorry to be like gonna bum me about it, but like, I don't know. It was just a kind of a whoa, look at this type of thing for me that I was interested in talking about. Where it's just like, yeah, you could also make this. You could also just do this. I'm like, I guess that's valid. I guess that's fair. You know, I really thought that the person who hadn't uploaded, I think the entire time that I was doing AniTube Digest, that's an OG anime YouTuber that would have come back. You know who I thought it would have been? Not Subsonic Sparkle. That was a dig at Nino. Look, man, I'm sorry. Oh well. There's some live streams you did, or maybe I did cover something you made at some point. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. I didn't make a thorough look at the whatever, and I would like to, again, for the record, I would like to do that. No, but like Subsonic Sparkle of all people, incredible. And 7.5 8 hours about Sonic CD. Freaking awesome. And I'm very happy with the reception it's getting so far. It's only been 2 days out and I already got the views it's got with his size and the inactivity that he had. It's awesome. It's really cool. And the parts that I did watch, I did skip around this one as well. A good chunk of it. I did the intro, but I did skip the nostalgic prologue of just how he got into Sonic, because I'm like, I literally don't know anything about Sonic CD. I am a fan of Sonic to the extent of Sonic Adventure 2. being one of my favorite video games, period. And of course, I did skip to the chapter that talks about Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2, and he's very, very lukewarm about it. But he's obviously in the context of what he's talking about, where he wanted to go through every game in this batch of games to really describe where they're coming from with the development of this franchise, of like, you know, spectacle versus the gameplay and stuff like that, to make probably obviously to support his argument that seems kind of like a defense part, where he says that this is not a defense video because it has its fans and everything, but like he frames the very beginning of that level design section of like, everyone boo this man or whatever, and I have no frame of reference for that argument whatsoever, and it was a longer section of the video, so I wanted to get to some other parts of like what's really good about CD that you made a fucking 8-hour video about it. So I got the sections of falling in love with CD, which I really liked. I really love those vibes you were describing, and the journey of that and describing that, and everything was great. And he was like, but we should go back to the beginning of Sonic 1. I'm like, no thanks. Not that I wasn't interested in that. I'm like, with the time that I have with this video, which is about a half hour, I was like, I'm not taking it on the let me establish the thing or whatever. So I had done, so then I went to, a little bit of shortcomings and sequels, I think, actually I did skip to this part about, because I didn't know what the Big Bad level design was, and I didn't realize how big that section was. So then I didn't really watch much farther than that. But then I did, again, I wanted to see what you said about, Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. And I wasn't very happy about it. But I did like what you said at the end, where it's like, these are just going for different goals. These games are just doing different things. That's fine. And they're like, wouldn't you like to explore this tree? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I'm okay. I was actually perfectly fine with scaling the tree. Anyway, no, but yeah, I was I was a Sonic Adventure 2 fan, whatever. That game needs defending. That's just so weird about Sonic, I think, with as a franchise. It feels like, with some exceptions, they're like 06 kind of universally panned or whatever. Maybe it has its fan, whatever. But there's probably a whole nuance to it, right? But I think Adventure 2 feels like that game that's like uber popular, but critically not a kind of a broken game. But like, fuck you, I love it. Anyway, yeah, like there's more better stuff, but anyway, that colors my impression of it a lot. But I was getting your argument when I did watch a little further into talking about Knuckles' quest and the difference between levels that you feel like you have control and autonomy and moving around versus a level that is designed in such a way that makes you stop and start, and you can only go in one path, and you're just kind of like, there's no like player agency is ripped from you completely. And talking about like with Sonic 2 Adventure 2 having very little player agency, I get that. But you also just weren't showing any of the tail and knuckle levels, so okay. But I get it from the perspective, like, we're just talking about Sonic. You probably mentioned that somewhere else, obviously. But then I did check out the Heart of Sonic CD, the actual like theming of the level designs and everything. I'd never played this game, so I had no preconceived notions or anything. So I think your reading of it was fantastic. And then I had just gotten started to the Metal Sonic and Amy Rose part before I was like, I can't watch more, unfortunately. Yeah, so I've labor of love and that sort of thing for like your favorite thing. I don't know if you said anywhere this is your favorite video game, where I think you said like it replaces Sonic 3 as your favorite video game. I think I heard at one point. But yeah, I get that, making kind of like the biggest definitive big video. Love that. Yeah, I love that for you, and happy to see you back. I don't know how active you're going to be after this, because it was probably something you kind of had to get out of your system almost, and whatever. And you probably addressed that somewhere. So I'm sorry I watched only your video in portions. It did only come out. This one I do have kind of an excuse, because it did come out 2 days ago. But yeah, what I saw of it, really good. Really want to watch more of it for sure. I think you still got it type of deal. You still got it. But with the maturity and even just like this reflective tone of it. It was like, this old me in the YouTube comments of like, because you didn't see what you wanted to be said about Sonic CD in other people's videos. Exactly what I do. Exactly what I fucking do. It's great. Yeah, love that. And great video. Love the success for you. Yay. I'm going to end this recording, this one, of ending with the longest video in this digest, and I think I may be safe to say the longest video I've ever covered in AniTube Digest. I wouldn't put it past maybe a Tim Rogers video. Maybe I reviewed an Action Button, but I think the only Action Button video I covered from him was the Tokimeki Memorial video, and that was only 6 hours. Only 6 hours. It was shy of 6 hours, pretty much. 10, a nice round 10, pretty thoroughly beats it, I'd say. Adara Fukuchi, and she had talked to me a couple of times about getting this video going and like wanting my thoughts on it and everything, and I will say I gave it way more hours than I was initially intending to, half hour at first, and then I was like, but then it was like a half hour, and then like 2/3 of that was taken up by the intro. And I was like, that's not very fair. And it was another thing where I felt compulsed to hop around in various places. And I did hop around quite a bit. So let me chart kind of where I hopped. I was interested in, because like, I think there was one, I had clicked on Good Morning Vietnam because I had heard things about that movie, but I had no frame of reference about it at all, really. And then you get to it and you're like, yeah, I wasn't really feeling this movie, I don't really get it, and just moved on from it very quickly. Didn't have much to say about it, really. Didn't really have any clips from it either, I don't think. And then immediately it was like, I have to set my expectations for what this video actually is, which is reviews and plot summary again. the third video today for me, that it's the bulk of the runtime is just describing the movie beat for beat, and I appreciated that for the ones I did end up watching, and because I hadn't seen these movies at all. But I did have to reset my expectations for what this was, because I thought it was going to be more of a acting analysis of Robin Williams as an actor, like what he brought to the table, how he did certain performances, analyzing it in a more closer way, and really appreciating his craft. These were just kind of a lot of movie reviews. If he had, and you cover the movie even if he has a brief cameo, and there wasn't really any, if I hadn't heard of this movie, I did not know the single thing of whether he had a bit part, cameo, or a supporting role, or was like the second to main or the main dude, unless I had heard of that movie before, like he's on the fucking poster, like Good Morning Vietnam or whatever. Like I don't know too much about his filmography, really. And so there was one that I ended up clicking because I don't know, because I had Good Morning Vietnam, and there was not much to it, so I just kind of bled into the next one you were watching, and I hadn't heard anything about it, and it is pretty well rated, and you're like, I liked your commentary on it, but you are just kind of describing the movie plot for beat. And then I'm like, so who does Robin Williams play? Is he like a main character here? Like, no, he's just in one segment. I'm like, okay, are you going to stop after he's done with the segment here? No, and you review the entire movie, regardless of Robin's involvement in it or whatever. I'm like, okay. I guess for me, it was just like, the video didn't need to be like, I like the ambition of it being this long, for sure. It is kind of a cool flex, for sure. Substantive wise, it's like, yeah, and I'm sure that's the case with a lot of these mega ultra long crazy videos or whatever. But that was, I'll admit, that's a disappointment for me, that I was like, knowing about this video in advance and hearing about it is sort of what I was expecting, pretty much. But then, so then I think I just clicked around more, and then the bigger section, it was one that I watched first. Which one was it? It was Awakenings. I had not heard of Awakenings. I saw it was one of your favorites in the tier list or whatever. So I watched that section, and it was like that section and Fisher King, which is the one right afterwards, actually. That I was actually very fortunate to watch because it just felt like very similar thematically to Robin's life, as you described towards the end of the video, which I did skip to that point at least. So yeah, like I watched the whole Awakening section, and that was interesting. Like, yes, it is kind of a summation of it, but your description of like what the illness is, and your perspective as a psychologist was great. Like that sort of analysis was so like that's substantive. That's something you can bring, and that's cool. And then Fisher King, pretty much like the reason it's so long is really just how detailed you are in the plot summary and commenting on the various beats and stuff like that. That did feel like a full review of the movie in a way that felt very substantive, I guess. But it did make me think that like how much of this is like padded with like just describing them, you know, going plot beat by plot beat really, and not as much engaging with Robin's performance, even showing almost any of it. Like there's some clips you may show here or there, but you were very, very, very sparing about it. I get it because content ID, sure, but I think there were ways you could have gone about being more tactful about it. You think of how many video essays are out there that actually use these sorts of clips and stuff and are fine with it. I don't know. And I get it with your the kind of technology you're working with as well. I can get that as well of kind of having that struggle with it, and also the misfortune you had with losing the files or what you had there is also rough. I get that for sure. But yeah, and then so I did all of Fisher King, and then I ended up just doing the intermissions pretty much, which I liked the idea of, because you were going chronologically regardless of whether the movie was mid or whether you had a cameo or whatever. So you choosing that as a spine, I think worked. And then the intermissions are great, I think, because it was just kind of a summation of like your reflection of his career in this particular decade and the stuff he would work on in his era and stuff like that. I think that was great. But then you're right, like kind of getting super bogged with all the research you had done and the history of learning about his career, putting aside his television work, especially like Mork and Mindy, which if you were to make a definitive Robin Williams video, it has to have Mork and Mindy in it. I get kind of not wanting to touch a stand-up, especially with just how much is not available. Like maybe there's particular specials or something that this particular performance at this thing no one recorded or something. I don't know. That's pretty hard to cover, I imagine. I don't know. Actually, I've not really consumed a lot of videos that talk about stand-up careers that much. But I imagine it's difficult. But then yeah, it's like, but I like just the focus of it being just the movies. But I kind of personally would have weeded out the ones where he's just a bit character. Like the one you mentioned, this one with the clown or whatever, and he plays as a mime, and he's just like a little cameo role. I'm like, I don't know why you're spending even 30 seconds on this. Even just that much. Like just say like we're not covering that. Like because you're already not covering his TV series and specials, right? So I kind of wouldn't have minded like all 72 of his movies, like, but they're not. It's not comprehensive, especially when it makes sense that they're not comprehensive because he's not that in it that much. But yeah. But then what else did I end up from this? But it was only so much because I ended up giving about an hour and some change to this video, which was more than I was giving the other ones today. I could have done those struggles with this. I did the 3 out of 4 intermission. And then I did 3 out of 4, and then intermission the about his dementia, or the Lewy body dementia specifically, and talking about that. Which was why it was so kind of weird and fortunate that I actually watched, of all segments I watched, I checked out Awakenings and Fisher King. I really do think if it was just those 8 movies that you really resonated with and loved, if it was just those, I think that would have been substantive enough. And that I don't know if I tallied those those particular ones, it probably would be like a 2-hour video, or 3-hour video maybe, which would still be a good deal. But yeah, I don't know. I get the idea with it though. I respect the vision. I think and then a little bit of the Once Upon a Studio in conclusion. I didn't actually end up doing the entire epilogue, but I see that it's a lot more cinematic and kind of writing something that's really nice. Yeah, and this whole thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm skipping through it right now. I won't describe it or anything, but this is really nice. Wow. Yeah. It's really heartful. That heartfelt and everything. That's great. You guys should check it out for yourself. So I'm just like tapping through it and stuff, but yeah. No, it's really wonderful. Really, congratulations. I know the feeling of releasing something on the day you want it to be and having it be what you want it to be and everything, and landing that just right, despite your setbacks and the shortcomings you would have with it and all the caveats you gave. That took like a fair deal of the video. Yeah, all things considered, really incredible stuff. Congratulations. Very few of us can pull something like this off, and you did manage, and you managed to do it. Really commit to it, and yeah, and the whole thing. It's really impressive. And I know it's not anime, guys. I'm sorry, but Dara's one of us here, so I wanted to cover some a significant achievement that one of us has managed to accomplish. So yeah, thank you so much. You did really, really well here. So I gotta know, like day 3 of recording AniTube Digest. God, it will not leave me. All right, but this is it. This is actually it. Oh man, it really will put me through the ringer here. I actually don't think it's ever taken me this long to record an AniTube Digest. I when I'm thinking about it, 3 days. Jeez. Heck of it. I'm sorry if that only amounts to one video for you, but 3 hours, yeah, it's fine. This is a good one to finally go out on. And I wanted to start. There's 2 videos I'm reacting to at the end of this. This first one I almost forgot, and it was in the periphery. I'm like, yep, that's what I'm watching, and then it wasn't in my watch later for some reason, and I got through all of it, and it was through the middle of recording last night that I was like, oh shit. I have to talk about this Lectorious video, because I think there was allusions to this sort of subject in that first video I talked about with him. I think it was kind of one of the last not goods I really did and really tore into somebody, and I think it was a good one to kind of like leave off on, because it feels like since then he's done really great stuff, and he's also just been really I don't know, just active in our community and like talking with me and Weeb Crew, and this was partially edited by Funebure and shit like that, and that's just really nice. I don't know, I'm not saying that was directly coming off of what I did or whatever. I don't know if taking credit for that, whatever, but like I see correlation, I causation. Therefore, no. Why is adult animation so far behind? Nice chunky video, and I did end up watching all of it because this is the morning. I'm sorry for the other ones I didn't spend the whole time on. But this was great, and I think it was good for me to see the whole thing, because I think the arc is great with first to like kind of crash course of the whole history of it with both sides, and not going too far in the weeds with anything. Everything is pretty well sourced. There's certain subjects that I think could have, like, there's the nuance, and I was like, oh boy, here comes he's talking about otaku, and I just watched, actually, literally the video I'm talking about after this, where I have this whole context for it now, and a little better understanding of it. But it pretty much works out fine. There wasn't any major red flags or anything. And yeah, I think the arc of it the nice healthy balance of addressing and respecting Western animation and being really additive. And because I think this was a great middle ground, because I think your audience is built with a lot of normies, and not in ways that like they would actually know that much about about the Japanese animation side, but the anime crowd that like myself, admittedly, don't know that much with the Western side of things. We know some details and things, but like I felt like you were able to avoid a lot of generalizations and name dropping a fair, healthy deal of stuff that wasn't like a real, like really cornering yourself, like putting like, oh, it's all centered on Ava or something, or it's all on these types of focus on these types of shows and not doing super broad and everything. Yeah, and I think the history was pretty sound without going super deep and everything. But then also referencing certain materials and things that references that I'm familiar with. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I don't know how much you proofread this with other people in our community, but at times it felt like that, where it's like, yes, it's good that you brought this up or whatever. And it's just, it feels like there's someone in your corner almost. And I don't know how true that is, but I don't know. It just seems you've been doing, it's just gotten a lot better, I guess. Yeah, and I think shifting the way that it developed, where like the history and then actually talking about it on an aesthetic level, I thought was smart, kind of putting those into two bins. And then the clincher of this really being like, why is it behind? It's because Japan is behind in another way. That being the pay and everything. And now Western animation is exploiting that. I think the conclusion was especially potent in the way of kind of not outright having a disdain or scrutiny for Netflix branding this stuff as anime when it's not really. It's like, yeah, you could call it whatever, but like, what are they doing here? They're clearly seeing the business model and seeing that's a thing to exploit, and they are, and I think that was and it didn't feel like paying lip service to this issue either, which I think has been is something I've complained about in other people's videos and stuff, of just kind of mentioning it but not really giving the brass tacks or the realities of it. And you were very thorough with it and had a legitimately good reason to bring it up, where like this is kind of the secret, the actual why type of deal. And I thought that was really smart. Yeah, I think it was really well done. And it's so funny, there's things that like that are in this video that were weaved into other videos here, that were weaved into their own. And it's because it's like we're all kind of talking to each other almost, but we're not. Not like in a big deal or anything, but like it's interesting that we're all kind of making similar conclusions, and then we release videos within a couple days of each other, and then they're all, I don't know. It's just interesting. Shush. Yeah, I thought it was a great video, of course. Very happy the trajectory here. I've explained that I've grown fond of your other videos as well that weren't as super ambitious or whatever. But yeah, this is really enjoyed this a lot. It's really great. And I had to choose one video. That'd be the last video I talk about in AniTube Digest. And out of what it had come out and everything, this just felt right to me. This one by Ermi Anime. He had released this a while ago in his original language of Spanish. And it is a community that I also checked out, like, I guess it was linked or whatever, the collab he was a part of. Yeah, that common reminder that, English is very predominant, but there are other communities that are doing this too. And not all of us are checking checking that out. Like the Spanish tubers, I imagine, are I don't know how to speak for them, obviously, but like, I mean, if Ermi's watching my stuff, right? It feels like that a lot of them probably know about our stuff as well. But they have their own, the Spanish community, the French community, the Arab community. Yeah, there's just so much different facets that we're not, that that are out there and everything. But I'm happy Army is one of the few that I'm aware of that very much has a distinct original language channel and is making a separate channel to really try to get this to an English-speaking audience. And this is a really great example of that because it's a really great documentary. Very well polished and researched and produced. I thought Ermi being on camera the whole time really helps, again, with that connectivity with just following through of what somebody is saying, similar to Lex Torius' video earlier as well. Lex being on screen for most of it, for all of it, I think just helps with like really guiding through and like, you know, following what they're saying. And all of it is very well sourced in terms of the footage and stuff, while not being super, not that being flashy is a bad thing, right? But I guess, yeah, to me, the aesthetics as a video editor can very often disorient or pull away my attention from what's being said or the cohesiveness of the argument or whatever. But this actual following of the term otaku and its trajectory and really the full of it, and not too much speculation on Armi's part, very data driven and very clear cut. It's kind of exactly what you want out of this sort of analysis and out of like really understanding this term. And yeah, I don't want to just parrot. I have the temptation to parrot some of the stuff that Armi said here, where like that it's a dead term, that it is effectively dead. It was opted by their government and kind of bled into Akihabara as a developing district, but then kind of grew into a weird place and effectively died once they kind of closed off this particular tradition they had with the open streets and stuff. Learning more about Akihabara as a city was phenomenal, and it just made me think more about like hearing how more sanitized and erased it is as an otaku mecca kind of deal. Like it still obviously is that. Like you can't very easily get the material out of there, remove that so easily, which is how much is packed in there still. But from what I'm familiar with, the branding is all but not the same. It's all very much like sanitized, the big Sega and everything like that. But really, like as it pertains to the term, I just think the timeline was really smart, or just made a lot of sense and really well sourced through multiple different avenues. Having that full clarity, I get really desensitized, I guess is the word, to when people bring up the otaku killer or the sarin gas attack. I'm just like, I think because you kind of hear it over and over. But really, I think Armi put it in the terms that, like, especially given the context of where the term had come from before and its origins in those otaku magazines, Otaket. It's not Animage. It's not one of the ones I was familiar with, really, which was interesting. And learning of what people made that definition through these opinion forums. And yeah, where was I going with that? Shoot. Like having that, like, that initial understanding of like people creating the term otaku or like, appropriating it, and then bringing in the otaku killer and sarin gas attack, and then kind of like, this is the actual lens that it's coming from. It wasn't like Armi uses the shock and awe of those events to further something. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I feel like the desensitization that I had from other creators bringing these events up, I always kind of tuned out exactly what they were in terms of the numbers and what exactly happened in these events. And I think Armi just had way more like, this is what they are, and this is what happened, and this person went into finding, because it became notorious for, the media ran with this story of it, but in reality, we ran with the idea of the media running with the idea, and this was actually kind of the extent of the word otaku as it related to the 1989 incident or the Miyazaki killings or the other ways to call it. And I've called it otaku killer even in this video because that's just kind of like how I had heard of it a long time, and that's probably still the case. But it's kind of a not as big as it obviously still had an impact and it was worth bringing up. But I think it like bringing that into more focus was really interesting. Yeah, and if the hour flew by, these other videos, I do think they kind of were feeling their length in places. And I was sort of checking the time on this one a lot, but I think it was just paced really succinctly with the amount of chapters that were there and the period of time that it's covering. And it didn't, again, I think there's other videos here, despite this being an hour, there are other videos here that I think would bite off more than they can chew, and it's tempting to do that, and finding that balance. But this, I just felt like it was just the right amount of information, all real life events and like well sourced information, I guess. A little bit of Otaku no Video, but just kind of mentioning it in the way that it needs to be mentioned, and not going super in depth of what it's saying or whatever. And I just think that restraint was really well handled. It was a pleasure for me to contribute my voice to this as Tomino, but like appreciated because I don't know, sorry for bringing this up or whatever, but like there was another quote that he wanted me to read and I wasn't actually comfortable reading it. So I appreciated having the boundary. And in the context of the video, it's like I see where it's coming from. I still probably would have felt uncomfortable saying it. But yeah, I just think it was important to include in everything. I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know why. It felt like it. Yeah, but it's a phenomenal video. And it should out of the videos here, the way that these other videos are doing performance wise, I think this one should be doing way better. But I've gotten tired saying that, like, and saying that about my own. I realized this summer I don't remember the last time I looked at my views on my channel. I really don't remember. And now I'm just like dreading looking at them again. Sorry I'm making this about me again. I'm sorry, fucking hell. But I can't stand it. And I just know this is the other things that I make, no matter how much I appease the content ID stuff or make something that seems relevant, it doesn't matter for shit. I don't know. It bothers me, but I'm happy but I think that the creation of a video like this, it just like, that's the I imagine it's because Ermi had an interest in this subject, right? And wanting to fully explore it and then crystallize that in a way that he can come back to it. Because to me, the things that I take minor fixations on, of like diving into this subject or this, that, and the other thing, that fades with time when you go on to do the next thing, right? The next fixation. And these videos are a way to crystallize that so that all of that comes back to the surface. All of that becomes fresh again. That's the importance here, I think. More so than how they do or whatever. As much as I wanted to, I want this video to do better than it's doing. And I think that's another, I guess maybe that transitions well enough into saying goodbye. This platform that I have only reached so far. It was really cool at one point that Trash Taste acknowledges this channel at the end of the video, that they're YouTubers they watch and stuff like that. That was really cool. I think that was the peak. and maybe went 2 years to whatever. The thing is, right, 5 years, this 5 years worked really well. This is a great time to end it because I can see it has reached the ceiling of what I'm trying to do with it, which was maybe I could get a platform that could boost these other channels and potentially get the views that they deserve or whatever. But that's not how YouTube works. It just isn't. And we know this. I probably knew this in 2019 or whatever. But it was like, hopefully people that watch my stuff are the ones that like are other creators, and they can watch these other channels or get to know these people or whatever. And that has happened in however capacity that is. A lot of creators are still an island, even when they know about this channel or whatever, because Beyond Ghibli shared a video with me a while ago of like it was like a video kind of essay type skit type thing of like, it was a different creator of like not from our group, but just the experience of making a YouTube video is very, very solitary. And I've talked about it here already probably, but I'm recording this by myself right now, assuming you're hearing it and whatever. And the vast majority of the views that this video gets will be from people that I'll never hear from of what they thought about it. When you get 1,000 views on this video, it's not like these have 1,000 comments. Far from it, actually. That was part of it. It was just like the reception was getting quieter and quieter. At the beginning, it was really exciting. Like a lot of like were people that were watching that I was expecting, or like the reception to it was really strong. And that really pushed it, I think, for the entire first year for me. But then it got quieter, and that was partly because I wasn't consistent with it. I missed, I don't know how many weeks I missed, actually. I should look. I should go back and find out. Definitely a good many, because I still was loyal to other commitments. I chose to work at camp for another 5 years after that. 1 year they didn't operate. So that summer 2020, that first year of Digest, camp wasn't even running. So that's what I did, along with working on my Gurren Lagann video. But then every other summer, I committed to working there. This was the last one. I'm saying it out loud. I've always been like, no, maybe I'll come back. And I think this is I had a fantastic summer. And I want that to be the last one, at least for a while, unless they really need me. Yeah, you see, even now, right? But no, I can't do it again. Not for a while. Because I am a full-time employee at Media OCD, Animego. I've salaried position and whatever. My full-time job is anime. And I was treating it as like a little gig or whatever when I first started Digest, and I was being kind of coy and not really saying anything. But and obviously I'd known this for a couple of months, and that was my boss's intention. But yesterday was officially the first day of I'm a full-time employee. And what that entails, we're working on it. But it's a big deal, I think. I want to make it a big deal. As what it means to this community, as what it means to the broader anime community. From what I can do in a position of as an industry person, employee, industry guy, yeah. And obviously, I had that intention when I saw like the little seed of it when I had my foot in the door back in 2019, 2020. And I do want to make kind of a retrospective almost in the first 5 years, how that's gone. Because being able to be involved with I can't even say majority, all of Dazaki's resurgence in the West. I now have on my shelf like multiple of his series that were never in the United States are now on Blu-ray and fucking streaming. Like that's a lot. That means a lot to me. I don't know why that got me emotional. I was waiting for something. And that, I don't know what kind of impact that has brought, like, the anime community goes where it goes. We're still in the shonen, whatever. But it is turning a new leaf, right? And weird, I don't know what you call it. I don't know if you call it that. I'm downplaying it, or I don't know. I can't make up my mind, because the more I learn about this stuff, the less I know. You know? It's how you know when you're in it enough. And I want my main channel to continue that, of like really exploring and really unearthing this stuff, and not like, I think the stuff Ermi's making and Lex is making and Wukong's making and Numanji was making, in terms of like really like and I'm sorry for not shouting out other people's videos, you know. Like, I love you all, and I'm sorry for those people that I didn't cover in this last digest either. Why am I apologizing? We all know this. That stuff I want to continue getting made and stuff. And I think my videos will continue to be more niche and weird. But what I want to do with my life, my career, is to push this community even further. And try to get back to some of the stuff that we read about in these Anime Age magazines. And obviously we can't go backwards in some ways. The times have changed, right? But I think we can all see that there are certain technologies and innovations and not even just malicious stuff, right? There's things like Discord. Discord's great. I love Discord. I think we all really liked it. Those people who use it a lot, we've gotten a lot of value out of it. But it's also eroded a lot of internet communities. It's all become siloed, and you never see what's in another person's or whatever, and the forums and all that, and what happens when these servers get taken down or scrubbed or whatever. And obviously nothing lasts forever. The forums could probably whatever, but some of these forums have lasted for a long time. And it's unknown whether some of the information that's being shared or discussed or distributed, if those communities that are in these Discords can be shared more broadly, get bigger, as big as some of these communities are, like Definitive Anime Chat or something. I'd love to talk to Bill about that, really, about yeah. But here's the thing: like, I know of these communities, and I like participating in the ways that I do. I want to do more of those. I want more of that, because I think that leads to the best, fulfilling, and long-lasting fans. And that's sort of we're trying to. I talked about in my Naruto video about passion being a fire. The camp that I work at, we have this ceremony. I'm not going to go into all the detail, whatever, and it's not recorded, and it's very private, and I won't go into too much detail, but part of it involves having a candle, getting it lit by people, and having that flame distribute to everyone else. And you get very, like, kind of protective of your own candle and how that flame is still going, and it could kind of get blown out. And if it gets blown out, the person next to you is there to light it and everything. And the more of those little fires, I literally just fucking Bonfire of Dreams, just literally just from fucking Berserk, kind of that. And in their instance, the Raging Inferno was this one person, and what happens when that one person betrays them, or leaves or whatever? You think of how different the Band of the Hawk was after Guts left, because they had Guts is making this observation, and all these people bring their light to make this great bonfire, this huge glowing light and everything. When one person leaves, it changes a lot, and I don't want that to be the case here. Not that I'm trying to. I am. It's just like, I mean, in like with Digest ending. And maybe people have felt it or whatever. They're like, oh, there goes another one. End of an era. Oh well. More decay all around me. Like, we talk about with like, oh, it's easy to be doomer about this stuff. So easy. I'm doomer all the time. Every day. Yeah, maybe my self-esteem would go up if my videos did better. Or maybe I can find my self-esteem in other things. And that'd probably be, I think I'll go with that one. Because the former, getting my esteem and the attention and the views that YouTube grants me. There is some earning, and there's like, you made a great video, but YouTube is the one that puts it in front of people. That's when they choose the ones that are like, and it's a robot. It's Algo, and Algo hates me. I've talked to your Ralph about it for years now, right? Anyway, this bonfire that we have, me leaving and this ending this digest, it's because the fire is only getting so big, or it's going out. If you're not growing, you're dying. This thing hit its cap like the first digest. It never really got that much more viral or popular, and that's due to my own choices of how I branded it and what I chose to focus on, more positive, constructive, talking about other people's videos, and I liked it. Then the more popular digest installments are one where I was tearing Bennett a new one. This just needs to be in a different form. And it's not like, discussion of anime YouTube videos, I'll do it in a different way. I can make it a live stream. I can change up the release schedule or something. No. Enjoying anime through YouTube or through social media with each other just needs to take different forms. New forms, kind of fresh forms, exciting forms. We need to start some shit. I really want to, and my position in Anime Go hopefully makes that possible. We have to see. But I want that. I want you to be a part of that with me. Is that enough soapboxing for you? Was that a good enough sermon? Yeah, okay. I guess I wanted to say something profound at the end while I was awake and able to. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this whole time. This is it. You guys are great. You guys have a great life. See you, sucker. Nah, fuck it. You guys have a great week. Yo, peace.